Hello, this is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. And today, well, it's open mic. I mean, I don't really need to say anything special for that. So we have a nice random show for basically discussing nothing, just whatever. I have a wonderful panel with me today. First, we got, what do I call you, Cthulhu's?
It's Cthulhu. Cthulhu's BFF. I mean, I guess you could say however you want. I mean, that's how H.P. Lovecraft wrote it 8 different ways. So,
right. Oh, okay. All right, and how are you doing, sir?
I mean, I can't complain. Rear-ended a dude. That was pretty cool. But other than that, good.
And can you tell us a bit about yourself for anyone who doesn't know who the fuck you are?
Yeah, I'm just a really pathetic, self-centered individual. I'm pretty much a 5-year-old child trapped in a man's body. I believe it's now known as clover gender. That's the new thing with the LGBTQ plus to a hashtag exclamation point. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Next, we got Phoenix. How are you doing, sir? And he left, son of a bitch. Next, we have Modern Medusa. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, madam. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Everyone knows who Modern Medusa is, so she doesn't need to give an introduction. I mean, she has tits. What else do we care about?
Yeah, bitch.
We have Nerd Stalin. It's Stain, but I prefer Stalin. That's cooler.
Nerd Stain. I change my username every once in a while. It's for trolling purposes, but I'm kind of a shithead, but it's funny to me. So, we all choose different ways to entertain ourselves. So, yeah, that's one of the ways I do it. But yeah, so Mad Cat, you and I, we met in person. Once, yeah, during if you guys all remember that whole Gamergate fiasco. Mad Cat and I, we went and scouted out a place for a Phoenix meetup, and yeah, so yeah, definitely, I recognized you. You moved to the other side of the country, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
a lot of family problems. They wanted to kick me out to the streets, so I had to move.
Gotcha. You're hanging out with oh God, what's her name? The one lady.
Unvarnished Void. Oh, Hannah Wallen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. She's somebody that I kind of not cross paths with, but it was someone that I had found online. Like just sort of when you step into that, you get lost. But yeah, Hannah Wallen.
You're breaking up a little bit. You might need to go ahead and exit out and come back in while you fix your audio issues. Let's go back to Phoenix. Are you with us?
Yeah, sorry I dropped out. I'm back.
All right, and want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm male. I'm in the Bay Area of California, a future YouTuber or Minds content creator. Not sure anything else. I'm working on getting my channels created. So,
word of advice: create a better opening and fake it. That's what I do. This isn't how I normally am. I'm just faking it right now.
Okay. Any help will help.
And last is Samaj.
Sorry, problem with the mic. So I just want to let everyone know this stream is brought to you by 10 Gigs. 10 Gigs. Go fuck yourself.
Tenge or 10 eggs? Because I heard 10 eggs.
Tenga eggs.
Okay.
Tenga eggs. Okay. Are those the things you masturbate?
All right. So
She gets
bring
it.
up anything interesting happened this week, or
Yeah, there was a
Some
whole thing with.
asshole killed some people in London.
Yeah, that was bad.
yeah,
That and then there was some more.
it took Facebook 2 days to tell anything about it.
That's not surprising. There's been more JonTron drama, this time involving his participation in the video game called Ukulele. That was always entertaining.
Sorry, what?
JonTron, popular YouTuber. You got an echo there. Might be-
Hey, I've seen this guy before.
Hey, Karn, you mic when you're not speaking. We're having a bad echo from you.
Groovy.
How are you doing, Karn? Up right away, but it was just echoing really bad.
Use some headphones, man.
Oh, now he's not going to talk to us because we told him to shut up.
Oh no, he doesn't like us.
God, I didn't realize it was
No,
that
he-
easy.
he-
We told him to shut up
He
long
just gave
ago.
us the 1 minute, the finger poke sort of thing. So that's good. You're gonna have to unmute yourself there, bud. Just so you know.
Yeah, I figured eventually. How's that?
Fair.
And while we're at the beginning of our show, you want to introduce yourself for anyone who doesn't know who you are, which would be everyone.
Well, I hope not everyone. I'm Karn33333. That's 5 3s. I'm on YouTube and Twitter. I started the Water Bear Brigade.
What is the Water Bear Brigade?
It's a group of egalitarians. We had one MRA, and we had one feminist, and we had me, who's really neither, but sort of in the middle of both. And we discussed a lot of issues. Our most popular video was circumcision, where we cited like over 30 scientific research, right, in our citations. And we covered it from top to bottom, left to right.
Okay, cool. That's always a very interesting topic.
So I don't know. Is the floor open? Are you guys looking for a conversation? You guys looking to start? Like turn those noodles, or like?
Yes, chime in.
Articles to talk about, and I got one that we're going to talk about, but I figured I'd give you all the floor first in case there was anything you wanted to immediately discuss. Right now, I'm trying to get NC Clark in here, so.
NC Clark. Oh, yeah. I kind of trolled her like a couple weeks ago, and I don't think she likes me. I was telling her that she looked like John Leguizamo, and she didn't like that so much.
Bruh.
I think I got a great topic we can start off on.
Please.
Okay.
How about these? I'm not talking about the actual motion that got passed, but I think everybody's up to speed pretty much on M103. It was recently passed by the Canadian Parliament. But how about the complete fallout of somebody freaking out because they have no idea what the actual motion was about?
I have no idea what it's about. I don't even know what you're talking about. You tell me an M103. I'm like, is that a type of gun?
No.
Yeah,
So M103 was a motion within the Canadian Parliament, right? A lot of people started freaking out about it, saying this is more and more of Canada, the Canadian government, kind of utilizing the power of the Canadian Charter to basically suppress the concept of free speech, right? So the whole spearhead of this was the quote-unquote Islamophobia, that whole big deal. Now, while that was the main focal point, a lot of people were throwing criticism at it. when you read it, it's actually really not 100% bad. So within the Canadian government, as it stands right now, they don't actually track the idea of basically racial or religiously motivated hate crimes. So it doesn't matter if it's like, crimes against Christians, crimes against Jews, whatnot. They don't actually track that and collect data on it. What M103 was is a combination of condemnation from the Canadian government against things such as, religious and racial bigotry, basically saying like the Canadian government does not stand for, racism, any form of types of discrimination. And also it was to create a council to give them 240 days to start collecting data to kind of start figuring out where should the direction of the government go. Should they start like trying to initiate like a specific task force within the higher echelons of the government for investigation into like hate crimes, so on and so forth. But the complete fallout from it so far, because so many people have no idea what's actually in the bill. It's kind of just like, your traditional American citizen with American politics has no idea what's in the fucking bill or in the motion. And so you have people like saying like they now made Islamophobia a punishable crime with like imprisonment and shit like that. It's fucking hilarious.
You know what that reminds me of is the new Legend of Zelda game that came out, and that Feminist Frequency. I don't know if it was Anita herself or someone just there at Feminist Frequency complained that the game is misogynistic because you have to rescue the princess. And it's like, no, in fact, it's pretty much running the show.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we can honestly say 99.9% of the time, anything that comes out of like Fem Freak is automatically incorrect. So like, I'm not even surprised something about that caliber of, actual like critical thought went into such a suggestion.
But it's along the vein that no one's actually paying attention to what's actually going on. It's whatever complaint they can just make up on the fly, and that's what people run with.
Well, yeah, you're talking about the traditional human syndrome. Hey, this is way too much for me to even look at. So if I can get all the information within a soundbite or two, then I'm going to be an expert within this field. It's actually quite hilarious. But I just think it's funny with the M103. It's just people are freaking out about it, and it's like people are saying that it's a blasphemy law that's been implemented, which it's not. It's a motion, and if any like I myself, even though I'm American, I love international politics, knowing how different governments work and everything. A motion in Canada is just either A, something the Canadian government says, we don't like about this, or, hey, we advocate for this, or B, hey, we're going to get a committee together to see if this requires any viable actual governmental action. It actually is it's not a law. It's not even like a precursor to a law. It's not like their form of bill or anything of that sort. It's literally just the government going, hey, maybe we should say something, or maybe we should look into this. That's literally all a motion is.
NC Clark's back.
Hello, NC. How are you doing?
NC in the house.
But she's muted.
Oh God!
Oh my God! Why did she yell at me? I'm
Is
sorry.
the cat about to blow up?
Oh, and then she went away.
Mad Cat, you can't say fly, then sexist.
So I guess that was a drive-by NC Clarking.
Nice.
I think she just literally came on to shriek and then leave, which is, hey, that's like fucking gold medal in my goddamn books. That's amazing.
Like 1 second of NC is better than an hour without NC. So
I'll take your word on it. I don't. All I know is NC as it stands right now is a long shriek, and that's about it. Interesting meeting, though. That was for sure.
That seems to be the typical response I get from feminists. Like, you disagree with them, right? They don't ask for evidence. They just say, you're an idiot, and then fucking block you.
yeah. So let's start with our first story that we're going to talk about today, and maybe our only story today. The truth about penis size, a woman's perspective. And the crowd is hushed.
Oh, I'm reading.
Well, I mean, yeah, like I would say probably most
I
of
need
this
to see
panel
the
is male.
results.
So yeah, we're like most of this panel's male, so everybody's like being quiet. Like, dude, I really don't think we
I'll
should
give
have
it a
like, long
moment.
discussion about my penis size at this point. This is terrible.
I was transfixed with the word "I am an attached female."
Well, okay, so this is actually a pretty old survey. As far as I can see, it's been going on for quite some time. In fact, it's been going on since 9/20/2000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the first few of these, and then I'm going to look at the old results to look at the rest of them, because these results, there's only about 1,400, but the old results is about 3,000, like almost 4,000. And I think that somewhere along the line in the last 16 years, this website updated its servers and met something up. That's why they had to create a whole new page. But I'm willing to bet that the old results were closer to when this survey first came out. But I just want to show you a couple of these for a comparison so you have an idea of what's going on.
That's
Starting off with marital status. It's kind of across the board on this one, but most of them are married women.
We're not going to be looking at boners, are we?
No, there are no pictures on this.
All right.
Damn,
I like
just
boners.
ruined my night.
And the one gay person here is disappointed. I won't say who it is, but one of you is gay.
Say it to my
How
face.
dare you,
son of-
sir.
Great.
Say it to my face, you son of a bitch.
It's Mad Cat.
Hey, I'm
My
bi.
my vote's for Mad Cat also. Just throwing that out there.
So, looks like, well, for the most part, between 18 to 35 is the majority of people. The body type, this is across the board as well, but I think the women are lying here. They're pretty much in the middle here. 258 report a petite frame. Like there's 258 women with a petite frame. Pfft.
That would bother to take the test.
And then the last one I'll show before we move to the old one is how many sexual partners have you experienced since you first started having sex? In this one, it looks like the majority between 1 to 10. Although a good portion seem to have more than 30 plus partners in their lifetime.
That's how you get an STI. Like, that's bad news.
Well,
Try not
maybe
to
the
do
reason
that.
why they need so many big cocks in their lives is because they're so loose down there.
Hey, I just let you know when I signed up for
Oh,
Mr.
wait.
Poll just to
No.
take this one quiz. I also checked the 30 plus category, so that you can remove one from that number.
Well, hey, political monkey, I'm quite sure that
Hey,
there are
political monkey.
some trolls. This as a hard fact. Yes, pun intended. So there are probably some trolls. As you see here, about almost 4,000 people took this. So I think this is going to be more representative of women in the world. And as we can see here, kind of the same results. A lot of married women, a lot of single women. Between 18 to 35 is the majority. Still kind of in the middle here. Sexual partners kind of decrease for the old results, but the vast majority is between 1 to 10. So, have you actually ever measured a man's penis before?
No. But that
And
sounds
according
kind of
to the-
that sounds kind of gay.
According to
I
these
have.
females-
You
Oh,
have?
you have.
Okay, so how did explain me how this situation went down?
Curious about how
Like a
big it-
ruler and be like, hey, wait a minute, we need to check something first. Like, how did
No,
that
no,
go?
we had already had sex like multiple times. Is. I was
So,
like,
so
I wanna-
and then you're like, I need to figure out how big this is.
I mean, I had like an idea. but he was disappointed. He was like, "Oh, that doesn't sound very big," and I was just like, I mean, I don't care.
What?
One of the things you gotta know
Only
is
9 inches. That doesn't sound big.
I just
But
wanna
no,
say
it was like
that
I used like a what's it called? A tape measure or something.
But did you measure from the base?
The
Like,
flexible ones.
Please tell me you watched that tape measure afterwards.
Yeah.
but did you wash the tape measure afterwards? And preferably, did you wash it off with your tongue?
Did I wash it off? No.
Okay.
I just want to say that whenever I compare like multiple penises and everything, I always comma pred it mentally.
What did I come in?
You came into a very gay
We're talking
conversation.
about dicks, bro.
All the dicks. All
we're
the
talking
dicks.
about how superficial women really are, and Modern Medusa confirmed it. She had to measure her man's penis.
Have to? I was curious, bitch.
Well,
Maybe she
you
was
still
bored and
did
had a
it.
tape measure. Who knows?
Yeah, like
Yeah, I literally was bored, and I was like, "Give me your dick."
Give me your dick.
Shallow. Hey,
I
guys,
need to make
you
sure
know,
this tape measure works. Give me a second.
That sounds like
Yeah.
the words of a privileged woman to me.
Yeah, I have to calibrate the tape measure. Make sure it's still adequate.
Beyond privilege.
if she, let
I've
her
had
get the
my
dick
fair
size.
share of dick.
No, it's
According
the free
to this,
market.
97% of women measure their man's dick.
Yeah, but with what?
Well, it didn't ask. It just says they.
well, like we can see where it says though, just compare comma pred mentally and everything. So when you comma pred mentally, you know the size of multiple lovers' dicks and so on and so forth. Like, I mean, I think we can all agree here, unless boobs aren't your thing, and that means you're dead because everyone loves boobs. Doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, whatever. But like we also compare like the size of women's breasts left and right. I mean that's quite fucking normal. So I don't see why like a woman who has like a woman or maybe even a gay man who has like a significant other isn't comparing their dick with like another dude's dick they've had before.
Well,
I
see,
mean
that's not the question that we're really bringing up with all of this.
Mhm.
Because women like to prance around saying, "Oh, well, we don't do that. Dick size doesn't matter. All it matters is how good the man is." It's like, no, you're superficial like men are.
Like,
You're not
yeah,
any
I don't
better.
know.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
you're actually probably worse than us.
I think it's.
Well, it's the open
I don't know.
market
Like,
of penises.
Go ahead.
You know, it's the open marketplace of penises and just in general, fucking sexual partners. It's just natural. Like, I mean, I don't even know why this is like a huge topic now.
Well, I think,
no, it's true. Like
I think part of the thing is that women like to have stories to talk about, and one of the stories they might talk about is like how many guys they've been with and how big or the variation in sizes that they've experienced.
See, I do
because it
not
makes a
do
good
that.
story.
Kind of sounds like grabbing them by the pussy, but the women's version of it.
I mean, well, it does happen. I think there was
yeah,
what?
modern, you're going to say.
I said, "Oh yeah, no. Women will often go up to a man and grab him by the penis, knowing that they will not get in trouble for it."
It happened. It literally happened to my ex while I was dating him. He went to a bar, and this drunk woman just came up and grabbed his dick and was like, "Come home with me."
I love how you did it in a very poor
And
like
you know how scary
That's really disgusting.
comes up to you like that. That's something that's like not. It's not intimidating. It's one of those like it's like a red flag. It's a danger thing. Like she grabs you by the dick and she's like, "Come here," like. No, I am suspicious of your motives, and I don't think that you're trustworthy.
Well, no,
Okay, hold on.
I mean,
hold on here.
for some women, they don't seem to realize that when you hold a guy's dick, you're holding his potential future to have kids. It's kind of not safe to do that, and he needs to trust you or something.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
I got a quick question for everyone here. So it's not normal to grab a dude by his dick?
No.
No, sir.
There's a fine line.
in a logical, fair, and balanced world, that would be sexual harassment.
Fair and
What
balanced. Are
have
you?
I been doing all these years?
There's a fine
Well,
line
You're
between
doing it
going to
right.
reach and
You
going
have to
punch.
romance them first, all right, sir?
yeah.
No, I'm just
Well,
like, yo, bro, let's go to McDonald's, and I would like grab my dude's junk, like my buddy's junk, and be like, come on, man, let's go to McDonald's, and like and we go to my car. It's yeah. Oh wow, I really have to like re-question a lot of my life judgments right now. This is terrible.
Well, it's as Wikipedia snippet says, it's a dick move.
You'll figure it out, bro.
I mean, there is a fine line between reaching down there to fondle and reaching down there to punch. And if you have ever seen a Jackass movie, they're constantly going to punch each other in the balls.
Well, I'm not trying to punch him. It's like a
No,
firm
but-
handshake,
But after a while,
like holding
get
hands to
paranoid.
guide them.
you get
But
paranoid
Steve-O had a-
anytime somebody tries to reach down there.
Like, does it really count if he had a cup on the entire fucking time? Is my question. Like, it
Well,
was
that's why I wear a
Well,
cup.
I have to logically wonder if guys really should have cups on all the time at this point. Because
Oh my god, the fear of getting punched in the nuts just happens.
Well,
daily.
Here's the problem. This is the reason why I'm a firm believer in bringing back the cod piece. And you guys are just like now catching up to where I'm at. I just walk around with a crimson cod piece everywhere. I'm like Cameo, the lead singer of Cameo, just walking around crimson cod piece. You can see me at Walmart with that shit on.
Just
now let's be
Walmart.
clear.
That should be a
You go to
hashtag.
Walmart a
Bring
lot?
back
Well, yeah, you can't walk in with a cod piece into Target. Target is way fancier. Come on, guys.
cod.
This
All
guy
right,
has
let's
some
move
class.
on.
You don't have to grab your own then. Just want to make that point.
Let's move on to the next question. What is the longest erect penis you've ever experienced? And it
That's
seems
a
pretty
wide
consistent
question.
between
15
6.5 inches to 10 plus inches.
the 3 to 4.5 statistic.
What?
I feel sorry for those girls that have only had a 3-inch penis.
Right?
well, here's the thing. There is a certain aspect, and maybe it'll be in the survey later, is that they talk about thickness, because there is a certain group of guys out there who have what's called a chode, where it's not very long but it's thick as fuck. And there are some girls out there who chode hard. So they're like, you have a what? Yeah.
Hey, some girls are chubby chasers.
In a sense, yeah.
One
Hey, there's
time,
nothing wrong with
The next
that.
question is girth.
What's
well,
going on,
someone once
modern?
told me that their dick, like before I had sex with them, they told me that their dick was soup can. That was not the case because a soup can is like this fucking.
No, they were talking about how
They
rigid
described
it is.
horribly.
So what are you saying here, Medusa? Are you saying you were curious?
I mean,
If it was a soup can, it'd show.
I was curious before that.
Well, you know those really skinny soup cans you get in the supermarket? Yeah, that's what it's like.
Yeah, it's a 98-cent can. Come on.
Yeah, it looked like V8.
Technically
yeah.
didn't lie.
Soup by
Jeez.
Red Bull.
Medusa's making it seem like there's like this liar out there lying about his dick, and he's like, no, he's just neglecting to mention it's like the 98-cent soup can that you get at like, Stater Brothers. That's all.
You know those toy soup cans they sell in the kids aisle?
Really, really condensed.
Technically that's a soup can, right? Right?
So the next question also mentions girth. So 3 inches to 6.5 inches. That's a really fat cock right there.
I just want to fucking
Well, that's-
mind that.
That's also like thickest though. Like that's like the way these questions are worded. Like it could be like you had experienced that like once, and that's because that would be the thickest. That's all that qualifies for it.
Right.
I think somebody decided to be a jackass and said, well, they didn't say human.
Yeah.
Now, the question I find interesting is who has the largest penis you ever experienced, the former lover or a current partner?
Well, of course, it would most likely be former.
1%. Hold on, 1% is missing. like 1% is kind of like it was and isn't, and like where's the 1%?
Well, this is probably rounding up. So there might be, or rounding down, rounding up. So these are not complete percentages.
Yeah. Like for all we know, that could be like 69 point something, and it's like 30 point something.
Right.
That would make up the excess percentage. It's just showing the rounded figure.
But, I find this interesting. It's like women have experienced bigger penises, but they don't stay with guys with bigger penises. They tend to leave them. So it's like guys with big penises don't get as much love with guys who have small penises, I guess.
So what you're saying is, if you want to fuck the girl, have a big penis. You want to keep the girl, have a small dick. That's some like inspirational poster shit right there. Fuck, man.
Just because it's big doesn't mean she's gonna stay with you.
Yeah. Hey, just because you have a fat cock doesn't mean you have the right to be a dick. Like,
maybe it's the other way around. Just because he's got a big
I will
dick
do
doesn't
whatever
mean
I
he's gonna
want with
keep
my
you.
big fat cock.
yeah, you do that, Medusa. You walk around swinging like a champ. You do that. Just reminds me of Thailand all over again. Oh dear God, no.
Dude,
All right.
okay.
Do you enjoy it more vaginally? What kind of question is that? What kind of girl doesn't enjoy a cock in her pussy? Other than a lesbian, but they have strap-ons.
So
Look at the
there's actually a lot of women out there where it's kind of weird. There's some women out there that are more along the lines of, hey, I prefer to perform oral. It's really just more of a niche kind of deal, man. And yeah, it is. It's, believe it or not, I dated a chick at one point, and she was all about oral. Did not want normal vaginal sex whatsoever. She just wanted to give blowjobs. It's like, I mean, it was cool for like the first week. Then afterwards, you're like, can we do more? Come on.
I've been there, and
Please.
the reason is that she had an like an STI, but she wouldn't tell me about it. So rather than cause any problems, she just she'd blow me instead. And like, it's interesting, yeah, of course, for the first week, and then you're like, wait a minute, like, what? Why are you? What's going on here? Why are you hiding this from me?
Yeah, no, the
Like,
chick,
yeah.
like, it was nothing crazy like that for me. It was just she just like giving blowjobs. That's all she wanted to do. It's like, okay, like, I mean, I didn't have to talk to her all that much. That was great.
Yeah.
Then she stopped talking. It was awesome.
Well, I do think this question is specifically referring to the big penis they had. Did they enjoy it in their pussy? Like the biggest penis they ever had.
Yeah, I can see where people are like,
And the vast majority enjoyed it.
yeah. I mean, here's the deal, though. Like, this is not me trying to be a dick here, but we gotta really kind of take this whole thing with a grain of salt. I mean, we're getting this off a website called Mr. Poll. Like, I don't think that's a reputable journal. Like, that's just me.
Well, that's why I said, I don't take this as a hard fact, but I mean, there could have been a number of trolls on this.
From.
Plus,
The question is where they got their pool from is probably the most important question to ask here.
It's just like it. So Mr. Poll is just a website where you can turn around and just like really just like send links out, like take this like thing and everything. So yeah,
It's over the internet.
yeah.
and how do you prove that they were women that took it?
Yeah,
You know-
for all we know, these are a bunch of men that are talking about how large, like, the largest penis they ever took and how girthy the largest penis they ever took. Like, I mean, hey, I'm not going to turn around and
No,
maybe
but
that's
still.
why it says, like, maybe, like there should be, like, a little section, like, I did not take it vaginally. Like, I'm just saying.
Well, and we could just assume, we take it on good faith that, let's just say, for the sake of conversation, that this is all truth or whatever. We don't have to believe it in the end, but I mean, it's still, I mean, for point of conversation in the video, yeah, okay, fine, whatever.
Oh, no, absolutely. But the last thing I want is I actually like Mad Cat, and I don't want somebody turning around and be like, Mad Cat's trying to use an internet poll as legit. And it's like, no, that's let's point it out right off in the beginning. Like, yo, let's take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and also keep in mind that surveys in the scientific field are like the worst form of data collection, the
Yes,
most unreliable. But sometimes it's the only kind of data that you can gather, and especially online. And this is still a small sample. So,
I mean, yeah, it is a small. I mean, depending if this is like worldwide or national, absolutely. But like in the end, like you're absolutely right. People lie on this shit all the time. Even like
Yes.
professionally done polls, like they lie.
Well, that's why a lot of studies, or at least they should, but some studies I've researched, they give people a survey to start with that tries to identify if they are knowingly lying about it. They ask them trick questions that are supposed to be answered a certain way, but if a person thinks that they're trying to get another answer, they'll answer it a different way, and they can throw those results out as indication that this person is lying.
okay, true story. When I was in middle school, they handed out all these this huge packet of papers, and they asked all sorts of questions about how much sex did you have, how much drugs, what have you tried, this and that, and I thought it was inappropriate for them
I've
to
taken those.
like middle school, right? Like 7th, 8th grade. So when it said, are you male or female, you know, A for male, B for female, I put G. They couldn't figure out that I was bullshitting throughout the whole survey. They deserve to have their numbers skewed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they
there's
probably
people
threw
that
that out.
could answer any of those questions right. And if the thing is, if there were somebody that was in need or in trouble or things like that, there's people that gave valid responses even in middle school.
Yeah.
All right, so the next question that's going to be interesting. Have you refused to have sex or dump someone due to the size of their penis? And this is kind of interesting. The vast majority says, no, I like all sizes. But if a woman does, it's because it's too small.
Can I tell a story?
Please.
Go for it.
All right, this is really, really, really funny. Would you mind grabbing me a Q-tip?
She's gonna make some small guy blush.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Okay. Well, I mean, I've been with a couple rather small guys, but I didn't say anything. Well, actually, one guy, I'll tell you really quick. This one guy who was pretty small, he broke up with me because apparently I was obsessed with his dick. Even though we never really even had sex that often, and he was a virgin when I met him, and it was just funny. But no, that's not the story I was going to tell. This one girl that I dated, well, actually, me and her and another girl were all dating at the same time, and then she was dating this really ugly dude. Really, really tall and large, and just a all-around faggot. He ended up just like bullying me, and not like physically, but verbally. And so this guy was just an asshole, and I don't know why she started dating him, but she was like texting me one day, and she was like, yeah, I kind of want to try and see if I can, or maybe have sex with him. And I was like, okay, whatever, go ahead. They were both virgins or whatever. And then she texted me later, and she said, I don't know if I can be with him anymore. And she said, I was like, why? And she said, well, I found out he has like a 3-inch uncircumcised penis, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Hey,
She did break up with him. I told her not to, but she did.
hey, Medusa, I would appreciate if you didn't put my laundry out there for everyone to know. Thanks.
Is that you?
Please stop talking about me. This is fucked up.
Yeah, this is fucked up. This was years ago. We're no longer in high school, Medusa. Dear God.
Hey, it was
Well,
Yeah,
especially
fine.
cold
Penis
that day.
grown since then.
No,
I
but
just
later.
got out of the pool. This is bullshit.
It was cold.
Shrinkage happens to all men.
Haven't
my
girls
God.
ever heard about shrinkage? I mean, I'm a grower, not a shower.
Honestly,
But
I
she ended
think
up like. Sorry.
I don't even know
She
anymore.
ended up-
No, just go on.
Oh,
Just go
this
on.
is
I'm
funny.
sorry.
She ended up getting back with him like a week later, and then the guy was like messaging me like hateful shit on Facebook, saying like, "Oh, you were trying to break us apart, so leave us alone." And I was like, "Actually, I tried to tell her to not break up with you because she said you had a tiny penis, but you know, whatever." And then he blocked me.
Yeah, please don't bring that up. They don't like that.
That's a trigger. That's a trigger.
I'm
indeed.
sorry, I had to finish it.
She was making fun of you because your dick is small. Block. Yeah.
But yeah, bitches are harsh.
Well, it reminds me of that scene in what was it, Scary Movie, where there's like a picture of a guy's dick, and it's like really tiny. He's like, "It's a disability. You wouldn't make fun of someone who can't walk, would you?"
Serbian film? Is that the movie we're talking about now? I don't know why, but Serbian films
I've never been able to
popped into
see
my
that.
mind.
No, it was a Marlon Wayans film, Scary Movie.
Oh yeah, okay. I don't know why, but Serbian film pops in my head when you said that. I was like, I don't remember that scene, but I think it's in Serbian film. I'm not sure.
That's an
I
interesting-
sort of saw that film, but I'm like, subtitles, and I stopped watching it. So jumped around for the sex scenes. I was like, I'm underwhelmed.
There's also
You finished off and you stopped caring.
it's not small, it's thin.
Pencil dicks
All right.
motherfuckers.
Are you or have you dated more than one man at a time you're having sex with? So thankfully, the vast majority say they only date one man at a time. But those who do date more than one tend to do 2 to 3 at a time. Although at least 200 women answered that they've dated 5 men at one time.
Hey, more power to them. That's a lot of sugar daddies. You get it, sister. So, sister.
And when he says sugar daddies, he means diseases.
Mister. I mean, yeah, that comes like hand in hand.
Infections.
That's like the price tag on a Versace handbag. Like it's you're expecting it. Come on.
Well, her sugar daddy's name is gonorrhea.
It's the gift that
Well, if
keeps
you're
on
using
giving.
your hands, you shouldn't be getting that many diseases.
Well, that and incontinentia buttocks.
Yeah, that's right. You can't get a butt pregnant.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true.
Okay, what penis size sexually excites you more to look at? Now, this is surprising. More women prefer a big penis over a huge penis.
I mean, well, that's because it's slightly above average. When you think of like the average like female like diaphragm and everything, that makes sense.
Huge penises hurt. That's why.
Well, yeah, but this is to look at, not to fuck with.
Well, yeah, but they're thinking about how
I
it
like
enters.
looking at
Yeah.
giant.
When it goes into the vagina and it hits the uterus, right? That hurts, right? So they're gonna.
It's hitting the cervix.
something.
I
Hitting
don't
the
know.
cervix hurts.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I've never had a man
Complain
hit my
about that
cervix.
with me, that I keep getting their back to their vaginas.
I'm out of
That's
cervix.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like a loose bitch because I've never had a man like bottom out on me. So I think that's an issue. But for me, I definitely get more excited looking at a huge penis. That's just me though. I'm part of that 33%.
It has a whole lot of space.
Like
That's the whole
you-
thing about.
Like I said, when I took this quiz and everything, I would let you know, and you would have to remove that number. So technically, 1,189 other people said a huge penis. All right.
Isn't it about proportion though? I mean,
Fuck no. Like when you want a steak, do you just want like an 8 ounce or do you want the 16 ounce? You always go with the 16 ounce.
technically speaking, if it looked out of proportion, it would come across the plate a little weird.
Does it look like it would hurt
And
you?
you still want that steak. Still
Yeah, I
want
would
that
pull
steak.
off the plate and slap you in the face.
For
Yeah,
the record,
but
I
you
go
still
for
want the steak.
4-ounce steak.
Do you
I-
think it will injure you?
Well,
I
if
think it
you
would taste funny.
the size of
Hear
your
me, but-
steak, just take
Yeah,
the
I'm
bottom
sorry.
off the plate. It makes it look bigger.
if it was
what we
really
made the
weirdly
plate.
proportioned, I would actually think it would be thinner. Right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
man.
Okay, so what's more important? Penis length, penis girth, or they're both equally important? Vast majority feel that you need to have length and girth.
So okay, so this is just my own opinion, and I'm not a female, so it doesn't really matter so much. But my thoughts are that women don't stay with men because of the size of their penis. They stay with men because, you know, like they have different priorities, and the priorities trump any, you know, like sexual malformities, or if it's too big or if it's too small or whatever. I think that the people who stay with others do so not because of dicks, but, you know, like it may be in spite of. And I think that attributing, you know, like dick length or dick girth to someone is not necessarily fair. I think that I really think that ladies stay with dudes because they know, you know, like just sort of like okay, why do you have friends? Think about it. Why do you have friends? I have friends because I trust this person, and I know they're not going to hurt me, or they're not going to try to hurt me, and I know that this person is safe, sort of shit. So I think that that's like, you know, a big portion of the game, and that if, you know, dick length were that important to a long-term relationship, that it wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't be, you know what I mean? Like basically dating websites would be like, all right, let's see your tape measure, sort of bullshit, rather than, you know, like, yeah.
Well, first I want to
Can I
say
say-
the reason. Well, let me talk. First off, the reason why I'm friends with any of the male friends that I have is because of the penis length. But the second thing I want to say is that,
Because that's how we shake.
that's how we shake. But the second thing I want to say is I somewhat agree with you. For long-term relationships, it really doesn't come down to size. But long-term relationships really don't happen as often as we think it does. And women as a whole want you to believe that it has nothing to do with size, that it doesn't have to deal with any superficial reason, that he has a lot of money, he's good looking, he has a big penis. They want to convince you that they're somehow better than men and that they like a guy for a lot of different reasons. And it's simply not true. They can be as superficial as us. That, you know, they will go after a guy who's more good looking. They'll go after a guy who's more exciting. They'll go after a guy who they perceive will be a better fit for them for a superficial reason.
I don't disagree with you there.
And it's just human nature. But it's the thing is that women will try to deny this because they don't want to admit that they're as barbaric as we are.
Okay, so what you're probably saying is it's not so much as is it an issue, but what on a scale of 1 to 10, what position is dick size on that scale of 1 to 10? So,
What I'm
Right.
saying is that
So-
women are not as innocent as they claim to be.
so when they're asked, what do you want in a man? And they say humor, health, and then dick size.
Dick
Yeah.
size is definitely within the top 5 of what they want. It may not be the top of their list, but it could be number 3 or 4.
But since they don't say that, you wish that they would say it. Up there.
It's not so much that I wish they would say it, because most people would deny it. Even men would deny that part of their attraction is how big their tits are.
Hey, so
But it's just stop being so disingenuous. Of,
Hey,
that's
guys,
so
guys,
awful.
guys,
that
Just
guys.
one second. What's going on, political?
guys, okay, hold on. I think we are literally, and don't get mad at me for this. We are literally having a lot of mansplaining on the stream.
What did you call me? Fuck you. No.
I said mansplaining.
I'll turn you inside out. How dare you? No.
How dare you call him a man?
Right? No, I totally get what you're saying, but like I go ahead. Come on, modern.
What's your joke, Vanessa?
Explain your joke.
Too, so.
I'm good. It's cool. It's all right. It won't make sense now because it's way past.
So you have jokes and you can time them, but you won't interrupt
Time
other
them.
people.
With
Explain
fucking
them.
9 people in here,
So
you
time
can't do
them,
the
yeah.
fucking joke. Like,
Go ahead.
yeah, no,
Well,
I'm saying
I want to give an example of something my mother told me about the second man she married, who I knew as my stepfather. After they divorced, one thing that she said to me, and I wish she didn't say this to me. There are certain things you don't want to hear your mother say. But when I asked why she ever married that loser for so long, she's like, well, the sex was good.
You know, okay,
I mean,
so here's
So she stayed married to this abusive
Sex-
man because the sex
definitely, dude. Seriously,
was good.
sex is boring, and it's such a small part of what it takes to be around someone, especially if you don't like them. If you really don't like someone, having to be around them for a very long period of time, like it's seriously, I would rather take a bullet to the dome than have to fucking be around someone that I hate, or that someone that I just like I don't respect. And to find out that women do this because, you know, sometimes they do this, not all women, but sometimes they'll do this just because they, you know, the sex is good or whatever. Like, that fucking sucks. Would you not rather just like fucking jump in front of a train? That shit's it's I mean, you know, sex is great and everything, and it's not, you know, the worst experience I've ever had, sort of thing. But if that was your life, if all you ever focused on was this tiny little portion of life, wouldn't you want to jump in front of a fucking train or a moving truck or something? If that was your end all be all. Fuck
no,
that.
but you might fucking inspire a couple people in the chat. You never know. Fuck.
Yeah, sorry guys. I mean, it's the best, and you should always try to do it.
That is yourself.
Well, that's true, but the problem is, especially when you're a younger adult, like in your early 20s, pretty much sex and getting high is all you want to do, right, Vanessa? But you know, that's all you want to do. That's all you care about. You go to work, you come home, you get a little high, you have sex, and that is your relationship. You don't want anything substantial. Maybe once in a while you go out to eat, but all you're doing is waiting before you can get high again and have sex.
Right?
Getting
Are you saying that this is a bad thing or a good thing?
Yeah, to me, it sounds like something that I would be in fear if my entire life was focused around, well, maybe if she comes home, then we might be able to have sex, like that sort of thing. Like that would make me want to jump off a bridge. I would not.
That's because you're a
care to
sensible
come
person
home.
who wants more out of life. But unfortunately,
Well,
you are a minority of a person that you want more, your life to have meaning. Most people just want the simple pleasures in life, and that's it.
and that's so sad. Like, okay, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, look at Xiaomi in the chat. Getting high and sex sounds awesome. I mean, like you're making it sound like a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's just fucking boring. Seriously, like putting your dick in someone is
I
it's like
do.
seriously like it can be a chore.
Yeah, well, he's got a good point there. I mean, what? Sex is 2 hours of your life?
Wait,
It
total?
has been in my life.
What?
Are you
Say
talking
it
about
was fun.
your whole life?
I like
Sorry, I misspoke on that. 2 hours of your
misspoke.
day, not your life, of your day.
No, there was no misspeaking. You got caught. Don't lie now. No backtracking, Mad Cat.
Well, to be fair, I haven't had sex in 5 years, so.
No, that's true. That's true. I'm the.
Still
How
there.
did you know?
Who do you think's
I've
been
heard
watching you from the
a lot.
window, asshole?
I got you beat. I haven't had sex in 8
Because I
years.
have
Go
curtains
back.
that block out the light, so.
Joke's on you. You think I've been following you for 5. I've been following you for 7.
Oh, and then you
would
saw
actually
some of the
challenge
geekiest
something
shit that I
I've
used to
said
do.
earlier.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not afraid to admit what I've seen. It's all right.
No, but like I don't know, like
Fuck, I'd
it's one of
probably
those
write
things.
a book about it.
I understand why it's so important to people, but at the same time, like I can't let my life be motivated by just that. It's not that important, and
I don't
what
know.
about you,
Like,
gay guy?
Healthy for you.
Which one?
I've-
Like, there's
Which gay guy?
No,
Are there more?
There's the fake gay guy that's the one talking right now. Who I don't know. Is there actually a gay guy in here? I don't know.
But seriously, like, is it that important to your life that you would be willing to forego so much more in order to be able to, pork somebody to go plant your penis in something that's not you, not your hand, that sort of thing?
I mean-
like, is it really that important? Like it's. I understand that it is important at some times, but it's usually like it's something that's like a cliff, like after. Okay, how many times after you have shot your load off have you really? Like, have you ever woken up and been like, "Oh my god, I need to get out of here"? Like, this is a bad
Oh,
thing.
of course. No, absolutely. Like, all right.
That's
So
called
I think everybody's been in those positions. Like, let's be honest here. All right. I think everyone's been in those positions where
Yeah.
everyone's like, okay, cool. I got what I
Right.
wanted. I was kind of drunk, blah, blah, blah. You wake up the next morning, you're like, oh God, what the fuck did I do? And you kind of just want to try to leave without waking up the beast that's in the bed. But-
Coyote ugly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Coyote ugly on the highest degree. However, you're neglecting the concept of an actual relationship. Like, you have to understand, like, let's if you could, Mad Cat, go back to the percentages. Sorry, I'm getting kind of drunk here. All right, so if you could scroll up a little bit. Scroll up.
Oh, you're. Wait, are you presenting Mad Cat? Are you?
Are you even there?
No? Where are you?
Hold up. I don't even think you're presenting.
No, I had to click on Mad Cat's little window, but it works.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Yeah, if you click on his window first, then you can see what's going on, even
Yeah,
though I'm
that's
running my
only
fucking
us.
mouth.
but
yeah.
that is only us. That's not the audience.
Anytime I speak, that's when people see my screen.
Yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
saying to present it.
Well, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
presenting to
Mad
people.
Cat, you could also click on your own screen, and I think that would select
Oh.
you
Oh,
as
son of a
the
bitch.
moderator, and
Yeah.
the YouTube channel would see just what you're showing, no matter who speaks.
I fucking hate Firefox right now. They had to change everything. I have to use fucking Google Chrome, and I don't even know how this fucking shit works. Fuck you, Firefox.
No, Firefox.
Mozilla's the way of the
For
future.
the homophobic shit you said because you have a good browser.
No, Firefox is the shit.
Mhm.
Don't you diss Firefox?
but they
Chrome-
fired
Chrome,
Eric
baby.
Eichmann.
Nah, Chrome is.
So I
king.
apologize to people who didn't see the stats before, and now you're seeing it. I
All right,
apologize.
so like
Go ahead.
you're absolutely where I want it to be. All right. So right there, have you ever refused to have sex or dump someone due to the size of his penis? Right, where the individual said no, I like all sizes. All right. Now, granted, like I said, we're going to take this with a grain of salt. However, for the sake of the conversation, we're going to pretend like this probably holds a little bit more weight than it really should. That right there, like, granted, yes, it was way too small, 37%. Granted, I get it. Fucking sex is such an important part of human nature that it requires it to at least be enjoyable. And you're not having good sex, it's going to lead into having like frustration and issues a little bit later on down the line. And it eventually mounts up to the point where you just want to call everything off. However, we see the majority stating, no, I like all sizes. Yes, sex is important. Yes, and being able to engage and have fun with your partner is important. However, there are some things you can forsake. And let's be honest, as a lot of guys that's on the panel, right? And I believe this, and I truly believe in full equality, and I know, and so I'm trying to draw this parallel here. There's plenty of times where your significant other isn't exactly everything you want them to be. Like for example, I hate blonde-haired women.
Right.
I hate blonde-haired women. I don't know why. I just hate blonde-haired women. I'm pretty sure in the chat right now, people want to hang me for heresy. But I'm not a fan of blonde-haired women. But yeah, I dated a blonde-haired woman, even though I absolutely hated it. She didn't want to dye her hair. She was a natural blonde or anything. But I still dated her because there was other things that turned me on about it. I think sometimes we as humans get so caught up on such small details that we kind of forget the larger picture.
I totally agree with you. I think that we try to. I think that human beings, both male and female, try to be agreeable, and that a lot of the times that we do so at our own peril, and like it's not not a good thing. It's not something that you want. You know, like when you have such a rigid edge where you want to tell someone like, hey, by the way, I like, you know, like this is the end of where I will be willing to, you know, placate and deal with your bullshit sort of thing. When you try to explain that, it fucking sucks. We see GG Mad Cat fucking chatting at people. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I think that people want to be agreeable and nobody really wants to, you know, like be hated or whatever. So it sucks, but at the same time, it's like I get it, but you know, I don't want to fucking participate in it or push for it. It fucking sucks. It's not a good thing.
Okay,
No,
so
absolutely.
what we have here is two different problems simultaneously. Like the first problem we have is the media telling us that there's the perfect person out there, right?
Exactly.
So we look for that perfection, and anyone who doesn't fit in that perfect box, we're like, well, fuck it. No, I'm going on to the next person, right? On the opposite end of that spectrum, we have people who compromise and compromise and compromise, right? And then they compromise themselves out of happiness, right? Because they've given up everything that they actually wanted.
Here's the
for
thing.
a
that
superficial
is
feeling.
important. I think is important. I'm not against people having a personal preference. I'm not against people wanting, you know, some ideal of what is perfect for them. Even if it's superficial. If they prefer brunettes over blondes, I'm kind of like that. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem I have is when these people try to tell you that men are really horrible because they have these preferences, and that women are somehow above that. They don't have preferences that are superficial, that they're somehow better, they're somehow more innocent,
more mature. That's the
because it's hypocrisy. Because deep down, they have superficial needs, just like the rest of us do.
Right.
Like certain things. Some of us just want to be spanked during sex. That's not anything wrong. It's just this presented out there in the world that women are not promiscuous. Women are not superficial when it comes to sex. When that's an actual lie.
Well, here's the funny thing, though. these feminists, right? They're like, oh, men only want sex and blah blah blah. Therefore, you can't rape men, right? And then they're like, well, women are better because it's not all about the body. And it's like, no, you're full of shit, right? So you don't want to be called a slut when you sleep around with 80 different guys in the same day, right? But you want to call a guy a pervert just for having an adult magazine, for looking at pictures of just a woman naked, not doing anything sexual, just sitting there naked, and somehow that makes him a pervert? No, what you don't like is the fact that he's looking at women who are more attractive than you are, right? And that shows how superficial these
competition.
Well,
yeah,
that just,
exactly. But
well,
have you ever seen
falls
the movie? Hold on. Have you ever seen the movie Blast from the Past?
Yes.
Right. There's the scene where she goes, well, do you know why it doesn't work out with me? Because I like boobs or I like ass and the chest and all these other things the same as they only date me for. And that's why dates don't work out for her, because she's dating guys who are just as superficial as she is.
well, that just falls along the line where it's like the old saying: every relationship started off a lie. All right, it always starts off a lie, no matter what kind of relationship it is. If it's a platonic friendship, all the way to a romantic interest. The truth is, every relationship we have starts off with a lie, and that lie usually begins is with the way we present ourselves. You know, we present a facade of being better than we actually are, and that's just a normal everyday deal. And I'm not going to stand here and try to defend and say, is it morally correct or is it, aberrant? But it's a fact, and it's a fact of the world. Every day when you meet someone new, you always hear it too. The first impressions is the one that's going to last. So you're always supposed to try to put out that good first impression. So it just falls in line where you try to present yourself as something more than what you truly are. You try to present yourself being closer to Gandhi than what you are to your real self. So this idea of like this superficiality and so on and so forth, like, hey, we do it left and right. Like, and I don't mean like we do it as in men, but like we do it as humans. We do it left and right. There's been plenty of times where there's individuals that have piqued our interest, and we turn around and be like, oh yeah, you're totally my type, da 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 da, so on and so forth. But regardless, humans lie. It doesn't matter if it's male or female. You're going to lie. It doesn't matter if it's a tranny going from like female to male or male to female. It doesn't fucking matter. They're going to lie upon first impression. I do want to go back to Phoenix's first little point, though. You stated something about the feminists. What were you saying about feminists? You said that they stated that you can't rape men because men always want sex.
Yeah, I've actually heard him say that. Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. I have actually never heard that argument from feminists. What I have heard from feminists, and this is not me, like, there's something about me, I'm really weird about it. I'm always a huge stickler for truth. I'm really weird about that way. I've never heard that argument, honestly. I've always heard that you can't rape men because men have power. And then that whole idea of the power is like they pretty much equate rape at this point in time. And I'm talking about with modern feminism. I'm not talking about like with radical third wave feminism or radical second wave feminism, but with the current modern feminism, they equate the concept of power along with the idea of the same ways like how Afrocentrics say you can't be racist towards white people because it's oppression plus power, that whole deal. And it's the same sense within in the current wave of feminism, when it comes down to the concept of rape, is that you can't basically rape the oppressor. That's the way it goes along.
I've heard both, in all honesty. I do hear that you can't rape men because they always want sex, or if he has an erection, that means he wanted to have sex. I've heard all sorts of things about how it's impossible to rape.
For the last one you said, Mad Cat, the appropriate response would be it's not rape if she's wet. It would be the equivalent.
Yeah.
Or it's not rape if she orgasms.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is a myth they hated for the longest time, but when it comes to men, all of a sudden the rules are fucking different. But no, the first myth that exists, right? The myth that I've ever heard, right, was that you can't rape a guy, right, because if he doesn't want to get it up, it doesn't get up. And forcing a penis into a vagina is not the only way to rape a man. right? We're talking realistically, not legally speaking.
No, absolutely not.
Because he could be anally
And,
penetrated,
you know, there was
orally penetrated
there was
against his will by either a man or a woman.
something I once
Right.
heard Bill Maher say, and this was many years ago, but I've heard it from other people since then. That he was talking about the boy who was raped by his teacher. It was a real famous case. It was like Mary Lou something. But he was saying that he thought that there was nothing wrong with their relationship, that it was completely consensual, because how do you rape a man? Penis in order to rape. It's like a woman can't rape a woman. A woman cannot rape a man because she doesn't have a penis.
Hey, so I wanted to put in another point here. A word. Now, you know, the social justice people like to talk about appropriation. If we want to look at a word that is appropriated and misappropriated, by the way, rape culture. It was originally used to define the prison system in which men are in. Because rape is
Yes.
normalized and accepted and sometimes even applauded. Depending on who it's done to, it doesn't matter who. One example would be pedophiles, another would be rapists. You know, there's a huge group of people where it's just normalized. And then by extension to other people who haven't done such a thing, it normalizes the behavior, which makes it more widespread.
And in fact, by misappropriating the term, as feminists have, they have further increased the normalization of prison rape. And I've even seen feminists say that men deserve to be raped in prison because they are criminals.
But yeah,
And
but
it's the
I don't
same-
think I don't think the majority believe that though.
No,
like,
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
think
I
most of
totally,
the
I totally understand what you're saying. It's just that, like I think that normal, rational people believe that something is wrong, and when they believe that something is wrong, they understand that it happening to someone that I don't like is still wrong. It's like the idea of torture. You understand that torturing some ISIS goon is a bad idea, not because that I want this ISIS goon to, you know, experience the worst part of life. It's wrong because it's wrong. Like you know, you have your moral axis of where you decide what is okay and what is not, and you sometimes you'll come across, you know, feminists or, you know, sometimes just random women that think that, you know, like, oh yeah, rape's so only okay when it happens to a dude who deserved it. Like, no, it's never okay. It's not okay. It's not fair. We don't do this to people, and there's a reason we don't do this to people. So you need to fucking stop. Like,
Well,
you
I just-
need to do
I just
shit.
want to.
I agree with
Not only
you.
that, but when you torture someone, right? Like
Uh-huh.
you're going to make them an enemy. So if this person, oh my god, all right.
No,
I agree with you that most people, for the most part, understand that rape is wrong, whether it happens to a man or a woman. I can agree with you on, but the problem is, politics being what it is, we have all of these programs that are about teaching boys not to rape. Because all rapists are men, or at least that's what they're saying, or the majority are men, so we need to teach boys not to rape. There's all of these things that just keep going out that it's men who are responsible. It's men who are the culprits. And
Well,
it's
Mike,
unfortunate that this is happening. That's
Right.
why we have to discuss this. That's why we have to bring this up, that there are people out there who are pushing this narrative that women are always the victims no matter what.
Well,
Whether even if he's
aren't
lying
men in society.
about rape, he is still the victim. You know, here's another fun fact, is that the majority of men who are rapists have reported that they themselves were raped when they were children by women they knew. So if we want to teach men not to rape, let's first teach women not to rape little boys.
well, hold on there. Hold on. I just want to jump in on this little bit here. You were just saying that everyone understands that rape is bad, right? Like that's pretty much in a nutshell. Everyone understands that rape is bad, correct? Is that what you just said, Mad Cat?
I believe that most people understand that rape
Okay.
is bad.
I disagree with that. I completely disagree with that. And here's the reason why I say that. I think people think rape is bad depending on the context. And I mean that, absolutely. Like, for example, all right, you hear about like some dude or whatever, some individual who was like child molester, sexual assault, even if it's a teenager, and they go to and they get tried, found guilty, sentenced to jail for whatever fucking reason. It doesn't matter if it was like statutory because they're a fucking teen all the way up. What do you always hear people say? Like, honestly, like both sides, doesn't matter, male or woman. What do you hear them say? Oh, well, you know what? He's going to, he thinks he can be like, he can do that out here. Wait until he's getting like fucking raped all the hell in prison and whatnot. Like, what the fuck? Like, no, you can't tell me that as a society, we all agree that rape is bad if we're wishing it upon individuals left and right, regardless of the crimes they committed. We can't.
I don't think
it's
that's
insane.
That was sort of my argument.
I don't think what you're. It does happen. I'll agree with you. It does, but I think that's a minority of people who are actually saying that.
Well, I think
Most
what we're
people I
missing
talk to,
here-
even feminists that I talk to, they agree that rape is bad and that men can be raped.
No, but I think what's happening here is that
Feminists does believe that men can be raped and that rape in its whole is wrong. It's
I
just
think the
that
whole
their problem
definition
is
of rape
they don't realize
is
how
a moving
major
goalpost.
rape is for men.
What's up?
Oh, that's
Sorry,
exactly
I
right.
heard
It's a
another voice.
goalpost.
What's going on?
Are you asking what I
goalpost.
just said?
No. There was someone else that just kind of piped up. I'm not sure who.
no, it was me.
Oh yeah. So yeah, definitely a goalpost. But like, I really think that the majority of, let's say, Westerners. I don't want to say, like I don't want to claim this for Islam or anything, but like they understand that you don't just get to decide that you're going to fuck someone, and if they don't like it, then tough shit.
Well, here's the thing, Mad Cat.
Well, I also mean it for women.
Well, let's political talk real quick.
Look, if we look at just human history, we should know that humans are capable of committing atrocities, and I don't necessarily think it's because us in the Western world were just like better because we understand that these things are wrong, and it's sort of like a societal thing where everyone kind of generally agrees like rape is wrong, right? Like there's just a general agreement that rape is wrong. So if we look at, like, let's say cultures like Islam, that was how the world was even before Islam. There was always someone who was like that. There's always cultures that are savage and cultures that are, because let's face it, if you're, let's say, having child brides getting married off, that's a society embracing rape by our definition.
Okay. The thing is, like, using the argument of, well, look at past cultures. These past cultures did that. Yeah, and who were the majority of these people that were doing these things? People who were in a position of power. It was with the Muslims, that's a whole different subject, a whole different conversation. But for most that happened in human history, even in the Western world, it was people in positions of power doing bad things. It wasn't the average person doing bad things. Not always. There are examples where the average person was doing something bad. I will acknowledge that. But for the most part, average person generally knows right from wrong.
All right, we're talking about easy to understand hard rapes. But I was watching one of those stupid SJW videos. Actually, I think what I was watching was either Omegon or the saddest. Sorry, I butchered his name. Comment videos where the girl said, "I felt raped because my brother dissed my friend's sister." No, or something that unrelated to her. And she said, "I felt raped because my brother said something to his girlfriend." And that just
Okay. See, okay, like I think that the someone mentioned earlier, you know, the moving of the goalposts.
Exactly.
It's bullshit when you start saying, well, you know, I felt raped because blank or this, that sort of thing. Like, did something penetrate you? Did you get hurt? Like I think that is how we best define things, and I think that if we make certain what our terms mean, that, like, you know, saying, oh, I felt raped because someone looked at me on the bus, you know, like, fuck you, nobody gives a shit, you're a liar, and I hate you for comparing something that is violent to some bullshit that happened to you when
Felt
you,
raped when
oh, I
someone
didn't like the way
raped
this
me.
person.
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah,
that's
right.
that's my entire point. What I was trying to get to with the whole idea, where I'm saying, like, like this whole idea that everyone's, you know, saying rape is 100% bad. It's because society, and it is a good portion of society that picks and chooses when these certain actions, and I'm not just qualifying just rape either, you know, like, hey, you killed a drunk, like, if you were drunk driving, you killed a kid, next year you get murdered in prison, they're going to say that's exact justice, and it's not, but they're going to say it is. But, like, when you pick and choose when certain things such as rape, so on and so forth, are appropriate at what times, this is when it starts allowing this whole shifting of the goalposts to such an extent that they're trying to claim certain things as just being looked at. That's what we're seeing. Absolutely.
I do agree with you on that. Now that you've kind of presented your case a little bit, I see where you're coming from. And I agree with you that it's not a hard, fast rule for some people. It's rather flexible on when it is bad and when is it okay, if it's justification is basically what.
And then also what,
I mean,
they also argue what
well,
qualifies as rape at that point in time. Like you'll actually hear a lot of people, and there's a prison rights activist right now trying to protect the lives of individuals who were convicted of, like, sexual assault, so on and so forth. And I'm not trying to say, like, they're good people and need to be protected. Absolutely not. But they need to be protected as, you know, having the same human sanctity as the rest of us. You know, yeah, granted, they're in prison, but they're still fucking human beings. But, like, some of the things that they have talked about and everything, a prison inmate who has been was turned around and tried found guilty for 8 different murders while he was in prison, and those 8 individuals that he murdered were all quote unquote registered sex offenders, ranging from actual, like, you know, actual, like, child predatory acts all the way to just, like, okay, this bitch had a fake ID and now I got in trouble for that, so now I'm a registered sex offender and now I have to go into prison. And he murdered 8 motherfuckers because of that. And then not only on top of that, he sexually assaulted these men while there, not knowing what their crimes were, just knowing that they were on a sex offenders list for one reason or another. And you can be put on that list for something as heinous as actually preying upon children, all the way to just, hey, yeah, I had to piss really bad. I went around into a corner out in an alley, pissed, and it happened to the kid saw me. And next, you know, I'm in fucking trouble. I'm out.
Or changing your clothes in your car.
Yeah, exactly.
And the cop wanting to, you know, rain on your day.
Yeah, exactly. And so when it comes down to this, you see these individuals who, you know, absolutely, there's a lot of them that deserve 100% to be in prison. They're a danger to society, 100%. They absolutely go against what our moral fiber code is as a society. But there are other individuals where it's not deserving, but yet you still see people try to claim that it is absolute justice for these heinous crimes to happen to them. And then you see this translator on, because I'm not trying to play the slippery slope fallacy. I'm not, because you can't play slippery slope fallacy on something that people have a very soft stance on, where they're very easily in a position to manipulate what quantifies and what qualifies as an actual crime to what is quote unquote justice. And they can manipulate that more and more. And we see that happening all the fucking time.
Well, and this is actually a point that I brought up earlier this week in response to Monday Matt's video, where he's discussing, oh, well, this girl, this 19-year-old girl who raped a 14-year-old boy and got pregnant, she had such a tough life, and I don't know if she really deserves to serve 20 years. She was in a poor mental state, and it's because it's a woman. His mind is trying desperately to find a way to where she
Absolutely.
doesn't get punished.
There's already such a sentencing gap that I think that it's fucking ridiculous. I've been to a woman's prison. I've been inside, you know, like I went and I had a friend who fucked up really bad, and I had to go inside. But guess what? She got half the fucking sentence that her compatriot did, and they did the exact same bullshit. She got half the fucking sentence, and it's like seriously, like I understand the want. I understand the desire to coddle and to tell women, you know, hey, look, you fucked up, but we're really sorry for you, so we're only gonna give you half the time, sort of thing. I totally understand that. But it's so fucked up when you see a guy do twice as much time for the exact same shit. I don't like.
I
like
want to go ahead and finish the point I was
can't wrap my.
making.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, it's kind of interesting what you're saying, but I want to finish this point because I have a bad memory. I'm going to forget. So, what Cthulhu who here is talking about, it's the context of the situation can go both ways. On one hand, we see a guy go to prison. It's like, oh, yeah, he's going to get raped. Yeah, he deserves it. I see people all the time. It's like, this guy molested a child, and people are like, oh, if I ever saw him, I'd kick his ass. Oh, yeah, if I saw him, I'd fucking kill him myself. And then we see the other way of trying to, you know, the woman rapes, you know, a child, even, and it may have been consensual, not that he was fully capable of making that decision, but he wasn't raped in the traditional sense of what we ascribe rape to be. Statutory, but not actual rape. And we're like, oh, well, you know, it was consensual, it was okay, you know, she shouldn't go to jail. And more often than not, women who do have sex with an underage boy often don't go to jail because we have this immediate sympathy. You know, what's good for one should be good for the other. And yet we tend to be, for men, let's give them the worst possible punishment possible. Let's make them really, really suffer. But for women, it's okay, no harm done. Let's just give them a slap on the wrist, maybe a couple of years of probation. They promise not to do it again. And that is the problem in our country, is we can't be so hard on people that we want to wish them the absolute worst thing that could ever possibly happen to a person. And at the same time, we can't be so easy on women. Pull both of those sides together and try to find a happy medium where everyone gets the same punishment. And it's not too hard, but it's not too soft.
That's what she said.
I'm gonna say goodbye real quick, but thanks for having me on, Mad Cat, and nice talking to everybody. Come watch our live stream next Tuesday, which I believe is going to be the 1,000 subscriber special. I still need to make the event, but you know, it'll happen.
Link it.
Just come on my channel. All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Well, there went our balanced panel.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So now we talk about why we hate women. Let me start off with saying no.
No, we can't even do this anymore and look down that article without a female present.
It would be illegal.
No, it's just straight up mansplaining, and it really make like.
Yeah, like she
We'd
was
have to cut it and not be able to post it.
It's only
So
mansplaining if a woman is present. If there's no woman present, it's not mansplaining.
For this topic, I would call it mansplaining.
Well, it's a
Okay,
shame
so-
because there's a lot of interesting points
I mean,
that are
unless
made
you're
on the
gay and you kind of like dick.
due to this, but pretty much the most part, there's a question on here about, you know, if a woman had a chance to have sex with a man with a bigger penis, basically cheating and not get caught, would she do it? And a vast majority said yes, they would. And, you know, the ultimate point of all of this is that women are not as innocent as they always try to claim to be. They are just as bad as men, if not worse. You know, it's just like, own up to it. I mean, I'll own up to it. I'm a fucking pervert.
Okay.
I love
Anyone
how
here
this
doesn't know
falls.
that.
I love how the study go back to it real quick.
I just
Oh, 'cause
canceled
it's
out of it. Let me get
false.
back.
Like right next to the answer.
Control-Shift-T.
I'll just do
Wait,
this.
that actually works for your closed tab.
Yeah, it'll reopen tabs as
Oh.
long as you're not in an incognito window.
Huh.
Oh my god, thank you.
That's awesome.
You've made my fucking day.
No problem. So I have this. Okay,
Which question
this
did you
is
want to go back to?
this
No,
this
no,
is
hold
something
on,
I
hold
kind
on,
of
hold on.
wanted to poke at, guys.
Hold on.
Okay, so a lot of you understand, like, you guys are either into men's rights or you're, you know, at least anti-SJW
SJW.
sort of thing.
It's just an SJU.
So okay, SJU. There we go. I like that. Okay, so a lot of you guys are into that, but a lot of the things that I find along the lines of the men's rights stuff, and please correct me where I'm wrong. I really, you know, like I appreciate it. I've you know, I donated to Earl Sterling, the guy who ended up hanging himself.
Yeah.
You know, like I've thrown, you know, I put my money where my mouth is and all of that. But one of the things that I find about the anti-SJW camp is that a lot of the times I find it to be sort of victim culture, and that's something that repulses me. A lot of the times I see people who are, you know, like they're not just reluctant, you know, to deal with the other gender, but like people who are, they kind of make a life out of being afraid of women or that sort of thing, and like that bugs the shit out of me. Like I, you know, like I have a really hard time dealing with people who are, you know, like, oh my god, it's a woman, or oh my god, you know, like that sort of bullshit. Like just that reluctance to be any part of society. Like it fucking
That
drives
sounds
me
more like
insane.
the MGTOW movement, in all honesty, not really the men's movement.
Yeah, okay. So MGTOW, yeah, definitely. You know, like it just fucking rubs me the wrong way. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but like it's when
I mean,
when
like, I'm
when
not
hear
even
these
part of the
people-
men's rights movement, but I can, like, I wouldn't consider myself an activist, right? I'd consider myself red pilled, and I mean, I just think there's some general issues we should work on necessarily, but it's not something that I actively contribute to because, yeah, financial reasons, etc. But I can tell you that, I mean, some of the MGTOW stuff, and most of it actually sort of repulses me a little bit. But I do have a buddy I talked to, Optimus Christ, shout out for the stream.
Yes, he's cool.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I don't agree with everything he says, but like there's an element of it that is toxic, will you say, and patriarchal, if you will. Now, obviously, I'm joking, but you know, like it is a little off-putting on both sides. On like radical feminist people who are like, oh, men can't get raped, and you know, people who are truly misandrous and misogynistic, like to their core. They're not just, they don't hold a couple beliefs, but they're really solidified in it. Both of those are very repulsive.
Well, for me, you know, I am a part of the men's movement. I don't consider myself an MRA. I consider myself an egalitarian. And maybe I'm just snobbish that way, but I think that's something that everyone should strive for. But I understand the MRA side of things, and I support them.
Mm-hmm.
The MGTOW, though, I don't. I do have some MGTOW friends, and I know a few of them to be good, but the movement as a whole is not for me. I'm not ready to give up on women. I mean, the whole point that I fight is because I think men and women need to work together. We need to come back together and become one as a society rather than be divided, and not just
very
among
much agree.
sex, but also among race even then. But that's not really part of the men's
Well,
movement.
race
That's
is
how I
really
feel.
true.
But we can't have a society without women. We can't have a society without men. It's a binary component that makes our society possible. So that's why I'm not really for the MGTOW movement. I understand why people do it, but it's not for me.
Yeah, it definitely, like, it is such a complimentary thing that you know, I know that I'm good at certain things, and I know that women are good at certain things, and that I don't suppose or just kind of like explain away that, you know, women can do this and they can't, and they can't do this sort of thing. It's so much a complementary thing. We help each other in different ways, and to, you know, to say that women don't help is bullshit, and to say that men don't help is also bullshit. And it's like it's like, where did we fucking lose this? You know, like I have a grandmother still, you know, thankfully, and she's in her fucking 80s, and she's old as shit and can barely walk and all that fun stuff. But you think, okay, so we have these different groups of skill sets and everything. And one of the things that I'm, you know, like I'm really fortunate to have is to have this old ass lady explain to me how things used to be. And it's like, you try to look at how things are now and why people are, you know, bitchy and whiny and all that fun stuff. And I'm, you know, like I don't fucking get it. I don't see where the change is. Like what happened, you know? This woman who was born in the, you know, the 1920s sort of shit. I don't get it just yet. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I don't get it.
The simple answer, and believe me, it's hardly an answer because it's a very complicated one, is technology happened. Technology happened, our lives got easier, and it put less demand on us to be the people we were. It allowed us more options to be someone else. And I'm not saying that I'm anti-technology, it's just that we're in growing pains right now. We're evolving, and we need to kind of reshape who we are. But a lot of other people took advantage of this and used it for saying, hey, I want to be better than that person over there. I want to be rich, famous, or not just have to work and make someone else do all the work for me. And that, in a nutshell, is what happened. Feminism.
So we blame the Jews? Sorry.
Hey, can I invite someone?
No, we blame the space Jews.
The space Jews. Most illustrious.
Did you hear my
Isn't that
question?
just code for Mormons?
What?
Isn't that just code for Mormons? Space Jews?
No, that would be Scientologists, I think.
No, space
Utah.
Jews, social justice, SJW, space
Oh,
Jews.
No, it's
yes.
S.
Yes.
S. Jude. It was H.
I
Bomber
call
guy.
them space Jews.
H. Bomber guy is the guy who originally said it. He was like, "Oh, the S Jews," because apparently the anti-SJW community is anti-Semitic. And by the way, Mad Cat, read the group chat.
I'm reading the group chat.
Give me an answer.
Yes, I will have sex with you. There's your answer. I'm sorry it took me so long. I was smoking.
Not you, Cthulhu.
I just wanted to say about movements in general. Well, legitimate movements are good because when somebody does have a problem, when somebody is victimized and they feel alone, they can find that there's a movement that other people feel the same and they can join and find out that they're not alone. However,
Mhm.
when a movement is media sized, they can get hijacked. Look at one of the first social media hijackings was the Occupy movement. And not only did it get social media hijacked, it got homeless hijacked. Because when the
Mhm.
people that just started occupying those camps, they started giving the worst image, defecating everywhere, and bumming and slumming, and making the real protesters look seriously bad to the people that didn't know how to differentiate the protesters from bums, which
Well,
is all on the
there's
observers.
another good example of a movement being hijacked, and actually this one refers specifically to feminists, which was the atheist community, specifically Atheism Plus. And it actually had noble origins of trying to be inclusive to all atheists out there. And then feminists got in and changed all of the rules, and it now became synonymous with being a social justice warrior. And it was no longer about atheism. I mean, we heard about, Coffeegate, I think it was called, or Elevator Coffee, or whatever it was. The person was at an Atheist Plus and got invited
Rebecca
to
Watson.
get coffee in someone's hotel room, and she's like, "Someone tried to rape me."
I never understood that about the critique of the whole quote unquote atheist movement. I know this is just me. I was under the perception that the whole movement was just, hey, guess what? We're not going to allow you to continue to push these religiously motivated laws. Like, for example, we started taking pages out of the book for like the American Jewish Council and the American Catholic League that challenged, Protestant prayers within American schools, so on and so forth. For me, I thought that was the point. I had no idea that atheism became weaponized to the idea of like, you have to disbelieve. And I feel that was more, it came more along those lines when Atheism Plus came around. It wasn't just a push of social justice narratives. It was also kind of the push of like, you must deconvert, blah, 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 instead of just being like, hey, guess what? We're just not going to allow these laws to happen.
Naomi's here.
Yeah. Once, we have a check again. Once once it opened itself up to the political stuff, that's when it really changed in the worst way.
Oh yeah. I mean, that can be said about any movement though, regardless if it was built upon the merit of being beneficial or if it actually was built upon the merit of people believing that it was beneficial. It's like this whole anarchist fucking I can't even say that it's been born right now. It's more of a resurgence of the whole anarchist movement within recent months. But
years.
Yeah, I mean it goes through ebbs and flows, absolutely. But like the whole resurgence of it, like yeah, it appears beneficial, but it's not. But the thing is though, is that regardless of what movement comes out, it's going to be eventually hijacked. It's going to be regardless. Now, the question comes down to, though, is how do the individuals who are involved in that movement, how they're going to respond to the people who attempt to hijack it, so on and so forth. Like Linda Salsor.
Gamergate.
I mean, Gamergate, like, for example, Linda Salsor, for example, at the with the Million Woman March, how she utilized that to kind of catapult herself to a grander stage, to start really pushing the concept of like Islam, like after the like during the whole lead up to the Million Woman March and everything, she was already using it before it even happened, where she was like being interviewed talking about how like people are, anti-Sharia laws are are being passed and so on and so forth, and that you have people who are being killed because of this, and it's like, wait, what? Like, I think what really measures a movement, regardless if it's built on good intentions and they're just and justified, or if it's just like perceived good intentions and perceived justification, is how do the individuals who run this movement, who carry this movement, respond to the individuals trying to hijack it. And like one of the things I would like to point out is it's like the Dixiecratic Party for before they broke off from the Democrats back during the Jim Crow era. The Strom Thurmond, along with the other individuals who, before they broke off, attempted to maintain control over the Democratic Party by having multiple movements, so on and so forth. The Democratic Party eventually completely rejected them and shunned them to the point where they had to break off and make their own party, and it actually had Strom Thurmond trying to run as president as the head of the Dixiecratic Party. I think that's a good example of of a good positive response. I think a great example of a bad response is the complete adoption of radfem ideology within the feminist movement. Absolutely. Like first wave feminism, 100%. Like, yeah, that was needed. Equal rights, so on and so forth.
They still
Okay,
also
so-
built off of patriarchy theory, which is bullshit, and it's been destroyed.
Well, let me stop.
argue that
Let me stop you.
this-
Three things real quick.
Didn't it exist a
ahead.
lot more back in the
Hold on.
day, though?
Yeah.
Hold on. Three things I need to get off my chest real quick, and one of them is actually important. But one, groups need to police themselves. Two, anarchy is better than no government at all. And three, we have a new person in chat. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Oh, hi, I'm Sayomi.
Hello.
Nice to meet everybody.
Hi, Sayomi. So we're still going to have that dick battle, correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z style,
Cross
guys.
swords.
Yeah, fucking straight out Super Saiyan. Watch out.
I'm totally gonna win this, mate.
All right. So going back to what you were saying, the movements need to police
Well, the
themselves.
first way
That's
to-
how they prevent these things from happening. Is that how they police themselves? If someone starts acting out that goes against the best interest of the movement, how do the people respond to that? And that's one thing I do like about the Vince movement, is that they at least attempt to police themselves to prevent that from happening.
Constantly
yeah.
Well, I'd also argue that it's impossible to effectively police a movement because you really can't tell people what to think. Is
Right.
the main crux of the issue, and I think a lot of what we discuss, I mean, whether it be from a feminist perspective, a MRA perspective, an egalitarian perspective, all of these things, I think it's also necessary to point out there's a need for a grain of salt because, there's a good amount of generalizations we could make about feminism, and I'd also assume vice versa for the men's rights movement. It's sort of like stereotypes. It's not racist. It's not like misogynist or misandrous to think that each movement has its faults, but it is to say that one is not necessary when it in fact is necessary.
Well, this is why I say try to police themselves.
Well,
You're
yeah,
right. It's impossible
Right.
to be effective at policing. But what I've seen from feminists, what I've seen of pretty much many other movements, they don't even attempt to try to police themselves. Anyone wants to talk, they can go ahead, and they won't stop them if they decide, hey, let's go kill all the men, and a bunch of people cheer, they'll go and do it. They won't try to stop someone from having a dissenting viewpoint within the movement itself. The men's movement at least tries. They fail a lot, but they try.
I mean,
So, what?
go ahead.
Okay, one of the last policings that I've seen inside the men's movement was, what's that guy? He ended up throttling a couple people. One of them was the Woolly Bumblebee. But he runs a bigger blog. I don't recall the name of it right now, but he throttled the Woolly Bumblebee, and also just like people who kind of fuck up, he'll go, and he'll go stick a fork in them, sort of shit. What's his name?
Sardon?
No, not Sargon. I think he's an American, and he runs it's the men's rights movement or something blog. Fuck. Let me pull it up. But
I saw
yeah,
something about someone.
Yeah,
taking
well,
down
I mean-
the Bumblebee.
yeah, the woolly bumblebee. Well, she got in some shit fit with someone online, and she ended up deleting her shit, thinking that someone was going to come after her kids or some shit. And you know, never go after someone's children. That's fucked up. I hate you if you do that. But Paul Elam, yes, thank you, chat. Warped Reflection.
Ah,
Yeah, Paul Elam. He runs a website that you know, he's gone after these people who fuck up, and I appreciate that. And he gets a lot of shit for it, and whatever, you know, like he'll take it on the nose sort of bullshit. And I like that guy a lot for the type of shit that he not only has to put up with, but the type of shit that he'll confront you even if it's unpopular. And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that sort of character, that sort of, you know, that type of person who's willing to be unpopular. But that's my thoughts. You know, like the men's
major
movement.
happened lately. I mean, yeah, the woolly bumblebee. Almost everyone has gone after her for for something stupid she's done. But I think within the movement, people generally know that if you do something stupid, you're going to be called out for it. Because we're all about free speech. We're all about the open to ideas. And while sometimes we can be a little bit pig-headed about dissenting viewpoints, like if the movement disagree with each other and one tries to, they can become closed-minded. And it's an unfortunate thing that happens, but it happens. But for the most part, we generally accept that it's freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. And I can say whatever I want in response to your freedom of speech. But
But
we
not
still
free
allow
from consequences.
Right. Unlike many other movements that really try hard to be an echo chamber. And that if you say something that does not belong in the echo chamber, you will be shunned.
But when you, I'm sorry, I'm trying to put both sides of that together, and they don't go together. It's something about the idea that the reason people look for echo chambers is just to support their own idea, even if it's not fully developed.
Right.
And therefore, if it doesn't fit with that, then they don't want you in there. But yeah,
Yeah, right. Like, what do we want? Do we want ideological purity tests or what? Like, that's fucking bullshit. To even think of that, like you know, I want people who challenge my ideas. Those are the people that I'm drawn towards. I want people who make me think and make me question the biases that I have inherently, and I want those. You know, like you have to find someone that you like. It's not like I'm going to go follow Cat Black on Twitter. It's that you have to find someone that you like, and then, you know, they're going to present ideas that you may not necessarily like or gravitate towards, but it's like, fuck, okay, this is how I'm going to shit. Well, how do I, you know, like how do I wrap my mind around this? Oh, fuck, this is difficult. You know, like that sort of thing. I want someone to make my wheels spin.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that you shouldn't seek out opposition to stances that you hold. I absolutely agree with that 100%. But there is a line, like with this whole idea of policing your own within a specific movement and everything. And I know I sound like a complete asshole right now because I'm not a men's rights activist. I believe that there's a lot of laws and everything, but I'm not an activist. I don't go out and do things. Don't get me wrong. Like an activist actually goes out and campaigns and advocates. I don't advocate. I support, I don't advocate. I don't have the time nor the ability to really go out there and really whoop it on. So I can't really call myself an MRA. But when it comes down to the lines, like when it comes down to it, there's a difference between allowing dissenting opinion and not having, you know, ideological purity tests, and then just having like batshit insane people attempting to hijack said, you know, movement. Like, and I mean that, like, think like there's a difference between a guy going, I disagree with you because of XYZ, and somebody else just yelling, phase out women, bring in the artificial wombs, you know, just like genocide all the women. Like, there's a big difference between cutting that guy out and then just like trying to show out the guy who just disagrees. You know, there's a big difference. Absolutely, there is a big difference.
Well, for me, I want people to prove me wrong. Because if you can prove me wrong on something that I think, feel, or believe, that means I get a chance to evolve. I really want, next to that, the second thing I want is respect. Treat me with respect. If you just come in and say, you're completely wrong, you're a fucking moron, you should just go kill yourself, I'm going to stay away from that person. But if you come to me and it's like, look, you know, I see where you're coming from on this, but have you considered X, Y, and Z? They're like, no, I haven't considered that. That's interesting. Let me give that some thought. And even if I come back and say, you know what, I've considered it, but I'm still going to stick with what I have, what I think, because of ABC, we can have a fair exchange. But at the end, we still respect each other. And that's what I see a lot in the movement. I do see the first one that I described that will just completely tear me down and try to intimidate me into changing my viewpoint. Put them on a block list. I'll just stop talking to them altogether because I don't need that.
Oh yeah, no, and that's where I was going with. There's a difference between individuals who are disagreeing, and I completely agree, allowing dissenting opinion, but definitely not like there definitely has to be policing of their own. I actually got into a little bit of a online spat with Michael Rowlands. He had pushed out some fucking bullshit about somebody trying to get Dennis Riley fired from Everyday Feminism because of like some fucking video, and he's trying to blame like the quote unquote anti-SJW camp. And I decided to actually read the petition that he actually pushed out, and it turned out it was an individual from the feminist side. I believe they call them TERFs, trans exclusive radical feminists.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turned out to actually be from his side, and I even had to point that out. And I was like, "This doesn't sound like an anti-SJW." And the first thing he said after he read like the screenshots I sent him was, "That sounds like a TERF." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's your fucking camp, dude. Like you." That's something that deals on your own. Like, and that's what it really comes down to is policing your own. And then I think it isn't just the crazies who cause problems. It's also those who choose to ignore the crazies themselves, the ones who just allow it to run free. You know, like, oh no, you know, this is included in the movement. Is it really? Like, are you sure? You really want to advocate, you know, mass slaughter? You really want to advocate, I don't know, fucking pedophilia, like so on and so forth. This is insane. It's absolutely insane.
Sorry, I was typing that I wanted to eat warped reflection. So
what?
You're absolutely right there. And it was like what we were saying when we first started this about the law in Canada, that no one's actually reading what it says. And the person that you're talking about, that it's like, oh, it's the anti-social justice warriors who did that. And it's like, if you took 5 minutes to actually read what it was, you would figure out that no, people want to jump to the conclusion first and ask questions later, or oftentimes not ask questions at all. Whatever feels right. And that's the ultimate problem with these movements. I mean, sometimes they make a valid argument. Every once in a while they do, and I'll support them for it. But for the most part, they just want to do whatever feels right. And that's one thing I respect about the men's movement. try to have some level of logic to what they're talking about. They try to back up their facts.
Well, one thing I have to give
go ahead.
one thing I have to give the men's rights movement a huge round of applause on is the original attempted hijacking of the men's rights movement by a lot of the crazy MGTOW guys out there. And I'm not talking about like your normal MGTOW individual who's just like, okay, ominous dominus, like I'm done with relationships because XYZ reasons that are really working for me. Like that's fine, Danny. I'm talking about like the straight out insane fucking crazy MGTOW, like the ones honestly believing that there's some magic voodoo pussy magic, like basically causing Stockholm syndrome within men. Like, but there was that brief moment where they attempted to hijack the men's rights movement, and seeing how the men's rights movement pushed against that, I had no choice but to applaud that. I was like, that's really spectacular that you guys were in fact not just allowing individuals just to throw whatever they wanted onto this wagon of, hey, here's issues that men experience every day, father's rights, so on and so forth. You weren't allowing it. And hey, kudos to you guys on that one.
Proper policing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, do we want to continue with the subject, or should I pull up a random article?
I thought we were originally talking about dicks. I have no idea how we got to this point.
So we were talking about penis size, and
yeah.
What's your favorite size again? I don't remember.
30 plus inches, if I remember correctly. I'm not quite sure anymore.
It needs to look like an extra leg.
If I put both my fists on top of each other, that's about how long. And then, oh, you're not going to stop me.
No, we're not.
We're enamored in this. You need to continue explaining just what it looks like.
Well, speaking of dicks, you heard about this story here about the CEO.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. This is...
It's the NC Clark's thing, or my Facebook post on this. Basically, this woman right here basically sexually harassed all of her female employees.
Oh, okay. It's going to
blame her.
She would
What if they were
undress
hot?
in front of them. She would go up to women and grab their breasts. She would openly flirt with people.
Well,
We talk all the time about, it's like, oh, well, we need more women CEOs. And it's like, I'm sure some of them would be very good at the job. I do. But it's like, then we get one who just really shows us that most women are not capable of being in a leadership position. And that's,
Being
I'm
a
not being
CEO
sexist.
fucking
here. Being a
sucks.
leader
Would you let her talk?
requires something that
Like seriously, like I've worked on all different levels and with different levels of people, including C-level executives, and being a CEO fucking sucks. If you want to hate something, like seriously, like being a C-level exec is not a fun thing to do. And it's one of those jobs that, like, seriously, do you really want to work 80 hours a week? Because, that's going to get you into an early grave, and also it's not going to be fun while you're doing it. It fucking sucks. Like anyone who complains and says, oh, more women need to be, C-level execs. Guess what? Those women aren't going to have children, and if they do have children, they're not going to be well-parented children. C-level, being a CEO is not a good job.
And that's what I think happened here is that this woman realized that her being a CEO, or a she-EO as she called it, was really not that great. So she kind of made it fun, and knowing that she was a woman and could get away with just about anything. I mean, grabbing other women's breasts at her workplace. And she wasn't even fired from this. She eventually just stepped down from her job. And they're now trying to build a lawsuit against the company and this woman specifically, which I'm not even sure if it's actually going to happen or not. It depends on what the courts want to decide. but she knew she could get away with it.
I do want to point something out there. Even though she called herself the CEO, she was the CEO, and it takes a lot to remove a CEO. You can't just like normally fire them how you would like fire a normal employee. It usually takes like, especially if it's a company that's already done an IPO, they have to have like the board of directors, everybody who has shares have to cast in a vote, so on and so forth, stating like yay or nay. And it's and normally
firing them is hard.
Yeah, it's not like a 50-50, like, okay, you got 51%, she's fired. It actually requires like no shit, like 65 sometimes, and sometimes for companies like 70% of saying, yeah, remove the CEO, like, in order to make that happen.
I can understand that. And you're perfectly...
Don't you have to buy them out?
No. So a CEO, chief executive officer, doesn't like. Granted, they can be given stock options. However, if they are voted out and removed, normally with the golden parachute package that is part of that, the reason why they have the golden parachute isn't just like we're going to pay you money for not doing anything. It's literally buying their stock away from them that was given to them as an option upon initial like joining on to becoming the CEO.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can understand all of that with being a CEO, but this company was actually pretty bad. They didn't even have an HR department during most of this.
Well, yeah,
like they couldn't really
new age company.
Complaints. Yeah, it was like a predominantly female company, and this female CEO took advantage of that because, hey, who's going to complain? You don't have anyone to complain to, and even if you do, nothing's going to happen to me.
HR is never
And
there
it's like-
for you as the employee. HR is a stopgap for the company in order to prevent them from losing any more money or talent.
Yep.
You know, like,
Well,
yeah,
that's
you
true.
never trust an HR department. If they want to talk to you, bring a fucking lawyer. They're full of shit.
While true, while I agree with you on that, this company still did not even have that basic level. I mean, even if they don't really do anything for the employees, it's at least something that you have someone you can report to that could maybe start something. Maybe it won't. I mean, I've certainly had my fair share of with HR, and it's been a disaster. I'm just saying that this company assumed that if it was an all-women environment or a vast majority of women working, which it was, I mean, this is a company that made special underwear for women's periods.
Yeah.
So they assumed, hey, it's an all-female environment. We don't need an HR department. We don't need anything because women will just get along. And they didn't.
Not only that, but that is a great pretense to, oh, does this fit right? Is this comfortable in here? And oh yeah, that's a great pretense.
Yeah, Think's main product line was specialized underwear that they advertised as being period proof. That was the whole intent of it. It was, and like Mad Cat already explained, it was supposed to be a predominantly female-ran company because the idea that it was supposed to be providing like women's needs, so on and so forth. Now, I know a lot about this story, Mad Cat, because I was actually tracking it, and I'm so glad you brought it up. So she wasn't just like, I know it says here like she supposedly FaceTimed into a meeting from the toilet. Like, so the level of insanity that this goes down on is like some of this shit that was actually part of the complaints. So I've read multiple news stories, so on and so forth. I know you already stated that she was grabbing breasts, grabbed genitalia, so on and so forth. She was like legit telling women, she'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be thinking about you tonight while I get an orgasm. Like, no shit. Like telling fucking female employees that. Like there was no like, okay, yeah, she's like crossing the line and because she barely crossed it, wasn't meaning to or anything. Like, no, she was like legit just breaking the law left and right. Like it's glorious, some of these fucking reports. It's just like, oh my God, how can you tell another employee that you want to sit on their face? Like, you can't do that. Like, that is straight sexual harassment.
Right, you have to go to the bar to be able to do that.
Hey, yeah. At least bring the corporate lawyers first, right?
Well, you know what this reminds me of is a few years ago, there was a story about the CEO or maybe the owner of Archie Comics, which she inherited from her husband who died. So maybe it was the owner. And there was a lawsuit against her by the male employees of the company because she would sexually harass them. I don't remember exactly what she did, but one thing stuck out to me is that she would refer to all of her male employees as penis. She's like, hey, penis, come over here.
Yeah, you can't do
and
that.
So they were suing her, and she said, well, I didn't think anything of it because you can't sexually harass male employees.
Well, yeah.
Reminds me of an Onion article about a guy who tried to sue his business in order to be sexually harassed. He wasn't being sexually harassed enough. It was at a detriment, and it pissed him off enough. So yeah, but of course, you know, like seriously, that I don't know. It's so strange. It really makes me wonder.
So
well, they want to be like men, and this one really went beyond what any man would do at a work company.
I put a link in the chat for a movie. It's an Annabella Sciorra movie, and she's a small TV show producer, like it's called American Crime, and she's a very handsy producer. It's actually a really good movie. It's got Carrie Elways in it, Rachel E. Cook, and some other people. But yeah, she's constantly pawing on especially women. They make a point of that. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I have it just for a lot of that. Huh?
I said, cool. Thanks for the link. I'm a movie watcher. Like I'll watch basically anything if someone recommends it and it's even, you know.
But it's a rare
sort of
movie.
Interesting. Yeah.
But it's not a exactly horror movie, but it's a kind of a thriller. But it's got some. Yeah, she plays a pretty body person with some loose ethics.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the movie. What was it? Disclosure with Michael Douglas.
That's a higher production. That's definitely a higher production, but probably a little more romantic.
Romantic? It was about a movie where a female boss tries to rape an employee and then turns around and tries to sue him, saying that he raped her. It was actually a very good film, really ahead of its time.
Yeah, it deals a lot more with the romantic part of it. This is just a little side note to the horror thriller. Well, it deals with it. It deals with it deals with that part of it. This is more of the horror movie. I
understand. I'm not comparing the two. I'm saying, thinking of a movie that kind of represents a bad female boss. Hey, there's Disclosure.
Yeah,
I'm just still surprised that you're calling it rape a romantic film.
Well, he said that he's claiming that it's romantic, and you know what? This is a safe area, and we're not allowed to judge what we each envision how our lives should be. I'm talking
about the frame of the movie. The frame of the movie is a romantic thriller. This movie has very little to do with the relationship.
I just want to say,
I was going to say, go ahead.
Oh, I was just want to say, like, Phoenix, you don't have to worry. There's no need to lie. It's cool. You want to be taken advantage of from a hot female boss. It's all good, man. I just want to
be taken advantage of by a female.
Same. Hey, you know what? The majority of my relationships revolve around someone touching me unwantingly at first, and then it spiraling out from there. So, you know, like if maybe they want to, you know, be disturbing or weird, I'm willing to give someone that sort of latitude, but you know, like it's.
So this is going to be
masturbate.
This is going to be like an MBTI question. Okay, I want to be James Woods in Videodrome. Do you agree with this? Sort of. a lot, disagree a little, or disagree a lot.
How's
Haven't
that an
seen it.
MBTI question?
Because you've got the disagree a little, agree a little, agree a lot, disagree a lot.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that wouldn't tell you anything on your MBTI.
Right.
So,
But that's
yeah, I was
just-
gonna say.
It's just the fact that
Well-
you've got disagree a lot, disagree a little.
How do you guys
That's
show
any
up on the MTBI scores? I always end up NT, IT, and J.
ITNJ? Wow, you really fucked up then.
Yeah.
I've been studying MBTI for the last 3 months, so I'm like,
Oh,
no,
you're a newbie.
so much about it. So
You
it's
need
just
you need about 3 more months to really start getting a sense of the differences. Because it takes either 16 personalities, and
Right.
3 months is just not enough time to really.
fuck that shit. I'm an ENTJ. I'm a fast learner.
Trust
me, I know a lot.
I'm a lonely nerd. I need my space. Quit talking to me. Stop it.
No, I understand quite a bit about it. I understand a lot of the functional stack, the shadow functions. I'm getting in really deep with it. So
Yeah. But
I mean,
still-
yes, admittedly, there's still a lot more that I have to learn, but I think I have a pretty
Right.
good sense of it.
Well, what about you guys? Where do you line up? I heard an ENTJ, and then what else? What about you
Well,
other
I'm an
guys?
ENTP.
Or the lady?
Well, there's what I was as a little kid, and there's what I am now. So I'm a INXP, which means
Okay.
I kind of flip back and forth on the third one.
Gotcha. Like I don't know. Like we're all developing human beings, and things change, and certain things will provoke you, and certain things will inhibit you. All that sort of fun shit, and it's just I've always tested as that, but like it's like we're not static. We're
Well,
dynamic beings.
MBTI is not about you being static. When you start to understand the deeper layers of it, it actually takes into account that you are changing over time and how you might change over time. I mean, yeah, the 4 letters do seem static, and I can understand how people see that. And that's how I originally saw it. And I'm like, well, don't you change? I mean, but it does take that into consideration.
And then
It
you
looks at
then,
you as a
then by
whole.
taking it, you change it by observing it. So that really messes you up later.
Not really.
Okay. No, I can sort of see that. That makes sense to me in a way.
Because then if you find out that you want to be something different, you learn, you can learn to do it differently.
Right. Like, okay, so one of the things that's always been difficult for me is I'm okay socially. I'm okay socially being around people and stuff, but the thing is that it like wears my batteries down basically. Like it'll bug
Yeah.
me. And I can only be around people for so long before I need my, okay, fuck off everybody. I need to go seclude myself and just kind of, be me. And I need
What were your 4
quiet
letters
or
again?
music. Yeah. So sorry, what was that?
What were your 4 letters again?
INTJ.
INTJ.
Yes.
So
sir.
yeah, so for your functional stack, that would make you NITE FISE. So I mean that actually describes an introvert perfectly well, that yeah, you can be social, but you do need your alone time.
Yes, I need my me time, and it's like even around the people that I really really like, I can only be around people for so long, and if I don't have that period of seclusion, that sort of like recharging moment, then guess what? Like I become a wicked asshole, and I'm the meanest person that you've ever met, and it fucking sucks, Like I kind of wish it were different, but at the same time, it's like I like it was. it's something that I kind of had to learn to understand about myself in order to be a better person, because otherwise I'm a fucking shithead and I'm mean, and I don't want to be mean to the people that I like, you know?
No, that makes perfect sense. And
Who's clipping their nails? I hear you. I know you're doing it. Sorry. But yeah, you know, like those tests that MBTI,
yeah,
those things, like seriously, like when the first time I took one was probably right around after I graduated high school. So it was like 2004, 2005, something like that. And then I kept taking them, and I keep landing at the exact same spot. And it's like, okay, well, do I charge these people? You know, like what happened? Do I confront them, or is it like, okay, you know what? Maybe that's probably the best way to explain my, you know, the certain things that I do like and the certain things that I don't, and why I, you know, like I don't.
Well, here's the
wanna
kicker.
be around people all the time. Like, it's hard.
MBTI only explains which of those letters you most represent you. It's not saying, I mean, if you come off as a T instead of an F, thinking over feeling, it doesn't mean that you don't have emotions. It just means that you tend to be more logical when it comes to how you perceive the world, how you make judgments.
Okay.
But you still have emotions. You
Right.
all 8 of those letters represent you in some way. It's just 4 letters in particular better represent you than the other 4.
So what kind of test is this again?
The Myers
MBTI, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator,
Oh,
basically measures which one of 16 basic personality types represents you.
I took one like that, but they like gave you like little things for like either doctor, or I got the architect is what I got for one of them. That was kind of like that, but it had like something that represented
That's an
like the
INTJ. Architect is an INTJ.
Oh.
Now, the personality tests themselves can be a little bit inaccurate. It's not 100% proof, and it really requires someone who really understands how these things work to help you really understand which ones you are. Sometimes the tests themselves can get it wrong.
And it really, you should take it a couple of times after going over, like, because you don't always answer correctly. I mean, in my case, because of my temporal thinking, it was hard to answer it. Like, is it what I want to be? Is it how I was raised to answer the question? Is it who I am? Is it who you know? Like, when am I answering these for?
Well, it's also, are you lying? Is it who you wish you were?
Right. Well, that's not really lying. But that's another, that the first one you brought up was right. Is it who I wish I was?
Right. That's why it's better to have someone who actually knows how this stuff works to be able to help someone through this.
Well, but you also don't want it to be, quote unquote, influenced improperly either. I mean, depending on who that person is, you know,
someone who actually knows how this stuff works, a human mind that can connect the dots better than a test can. Because the test doesn't connect the dots. It doesn't see one thing over here and then one thing over here that might influence each other. It just asks you static questions for interpretation.
Right, because I was raised one way, and then I'm one way in a particular case, and I'm one way on a certain day, and then so it's like, and I want to be a different way. So like, how do I answer them in in a particular way. So, like when I take it, well, at a particular time or in a particular mood. So after taking it in a while, that's why I ended up coming up with 3 of them pretty solid now. And then that third one is kind of that third one turned out to be very close to the center. So after a while, it really falls down into
There's an I, right?
the third one is between F and P.
No, not your third one. Your first one. It's an I, right?
Yeah, now it's an I. When I was really young and naive, I was total extrovert.
Okay, well, 2 things about that. First off, functional stack. When you, as an I, when you develop, you first develop an introverted function. That's your dominant one. But your auxiliary one, which you develop through your teen years, not always, sometimes you can develop it younger, can be an extroverted function. For introverts, people tend to pick up on your extroverted functions before they pick up on your introverted functions. It's how we interact with each other, is how we use our extroverted functions. Even though you're an I, you still have some extroverted functions.
Right.
It can be a little bit confusing when you try to analyze yourself, because it's like, well, at times I'm an extrovert, but sometimes I just need to be an introvert.
Well, my introversion
Right there.
comes from
You're
abuse.
technically both.
That
It's
I've
just
had.
that you're one more than the other.
A little bit more about that. You said that your introversion, you feel comes from abuse, and that's it's
Lately.
something that I've had to go through. But can you expand on that a little? Like not your abuse, but more your introversion.
Like, how do I introvert?
Or more along the lines of sort of how you deal with people, how you deal with people, traffic, that sort of thing. Like that's what's really interesting to me is so things bug me, but like how you sort of deal with those things that you can't avoid people your entire life. It's just not going to fucking work unless you want to be Ted Kaczynski living in a fucking shed in the woods sort of thing. There's a way is that other people cope, like yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting to me. Any other introverts, if you're listening to this, or if you're part of this stream, then one of the things is there's this book called Quiet, written by, I think it's Susan Cain. Awesome fucking book. If you're an introvert, read it. If you're not an introvert, read it as well. It's a really, really good book that it kind of explains like just sort of that nonsense, that bullshit that some people have to go through, that like, I don't hate people, but please don't call me. That sort of thing. Like, it's weird, but yeah, it makes sense.
The thing is about introverts is there's a lot of different ways to be an introvert. There's no one way, as I'm sure you're aware. How Raven or Phoenix might be an introvert, it may be different how you're an introvert. And it's definitely good to have that kind of discussion and see in what ways that you're different. But in my studies, I have mapped out a lot of different ways that someone can exhibit introvertedness. And in fact, it's possible for someone to be like an but like I was an introvert for a long time, even though I'm an ENTP. When I understand how those letters interact with each other, I can understand how I was an introvert for a long period of my life, even though I'm an extrovert by nature.
Okay.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely not a static thing. and that we also our favorite fucking things to do, but you know, when challenge comes, then we'll do what we need to. That sort of bullshit.
And certainly life gets in the way of
Oh,
who
yeah.
we were meant to be. Sometimes we
Yeah.
suffer abuse. I know I suffered abuse as a child, and because of my functional stack, I just sort of absorbed the environment around me. And, you know, people told me I was stupid. And because as an ENTP, that was my NE type. That was my DOM function. So if someone says I'm stupid, I'm quick to believe it. So I believed for the longest time I was stupid, even though I wasn't. And having understand my functional stack now, looking back, it's like, oh, okay, that's why I allowed myself to be that. But if I was in a healthy environment, well, like any of us, we could have ended up doing a lot better. It's just, it kind of gives me a peace of mind understanding that.
That makes sense. Like I think about, you know, like I wish at the same time, like I understand that that's just like it feels weird for me, and I have to be paid to do it. Like otherwise, I just do not. Like I don't have it in me. I don't really care to do so. I don't want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I totally get that, and yeah, those personality tests are really interesting, and just how they, you know, like what it's poking at, what, you know, how you answer it and how you don't, sort of thing. So yeah.
Well, one of my goals with it is I want to expand it because I think it scratches the surface of human psychology. I think there's a lot more that it could explore. And that's going to be one of my life goals. I want to expand from 16 personalities to 100 personalities. It's going to take me several years to do it, but
Don't you need a?
I think that it
Oh,
unlocks
binary
the
link.
truth about human beings, and it's so brilliant how it came to be.
It's interesting that we as humans have been around for, in our current state, how many hundreds of thousands of years, and we still have difficulty trying to trace back, what, 2,000 years? The fuck? Like we're interesting to be where we are, but then you think, wait a minute, or, you know,
You're kind of
how
breaking
much-
up there.
Okay, that's not just me.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
fucking
you're-
up. Oops.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll just keep it short then. It's interesting that we've been around for so long, and we have such a short recorded history.
Well, we didn't really develop a writing language until about 6,000 years ago, so 8,000 years ago. But, you know, one of the big things that we have to keep in mind when we talk about personality and humans and all of that is we, from one another, we're really not that unique. And that throws a lot of people off. We like to believe that each single person is unique from one another, and we're actually not. We have a vast array of things in common with each other. And that of all the people that have lived, there's probably been a person like me at least once in the entire span of human history, if not several times. The only thing that's unique about our lives is the circumstances of moving into the
The
future.
time frame.
I mean, the person that was like me maybe 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, didn't have YouTube, didn't have a computer, so that's different. But my exact personality has been done before.
That's an interesting thought process.
All right, guys, I need to bounce. It was nice.
Yeah, I think we should go ahead and end it tonight. It was a
You
great
individually on Twitter or something. So take care and be well, and I hope good.
Okay.
And Phoenix, is there any final things you want to say before we head out?
I had ideas earlier, but no, that's all right. Probably.
Well, thank you for
come
bringing
up
up
with stuff
the
next time.
UTI stuff.
Yeah.
I'm working on a book right now for writers. It's a writing help book that explores astrology, the 144 combinations of astrology for creating fictional characters. And I'm using MBTI to profile every single personality.
Huh. Interesting. You know, it's one of those things like that just fell like a card in there. You know how we tell kids, oh, anybody can do what they want when they grow up. Yeah, well, not everybody can be a writer.
Actually,
You know,
I disagree with that. Anyone can. It's just you've got to learn the skill set.
Well, some people
Some
get to be
people
writers
are
without
more
learning those skill sets too.
others. What's up?
Some people manage to become writers without learning those skill sets too, I guess.
Well, yes, but they are few and far between. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't just magically become a writer one day. I mean, I wanted to be a writer since I was like 5 years old, but I had to learn all of the skill sets to do it. It took me about 30 years of my life to learn it, to be at this point right now. It's not something I just instantly had.
Have you ever read books that were such utter crap though? And
All
go,
the time.
and we'll go, how the hell did these people?
Well, given it's possible to be an indie publisher, it's very possible. I know I'm an indie publisher, so.
No, it's probably why I've taken so long to do any of my creative processes. I just don't want to be that guy. I mean, but I have the means now to like actually put my feet out there. So.
Well,
Okay.
you know, I know you're saying that you want to start doing YouTube videos, and you know, definitely go for it. But you know, it's as Mr. Demon Arc is saying, is that technically anyone can do anything that's talent based, besides things genetically obtained, and there's nothing genetics about speaking for YouTube videos. It's just some people would have an easier time than others. Me, I had a very difficult time starting out, but I just kept doing it. They say that you need to spend at least 10,000 hours to master a skill. I don't know if I've spent 10,000 hours doing YouTube videos. Maybe I have. It's been about 3 years, but you know, you just got to put the work in. And the more work you do, the easier it gets. So, and writing's the exact same way.
So, all right. So, next time maybe.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be doing it next time. This was kind of impromptu because I'm going to be busy. I'm still busy trying to get this book out that I just told you about. So,
no problem.
I meant to do it all this week, and I just haven't really been able to get much work done. I've gotten some. I've made some great improvements. But I mean, trying to profile 144 personalities, that's a tough thing to do. So, it takes a
Yeah.
lot of time. But I think this is going to be a winner. So,
Okay. Are there even 144 personalities in Lord of the Rings?
Are there 144 in Lord of the Rings? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if there's 144 characters.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of something, to use as a base, something in pop culture that you can.
Oh, I've already mapped out characters from all sorts of genres. I think I have 2,000 characters figured out for their MBTI to use in this book. So, and I have over 5,000 famous celebrities already mapped out for their date of birth as well. So I've done all my homework for this.
Oh, so you've got all your foundations started. So that part's done. That's pretty good.
And I also plan to map out TV trope articles.
Oh,
if I
God.
do that, then TV tropes will advertise my book. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah. All I have to do is just refer to their articles and voila. Some of them are easy, others are not, but if I already know the characters, they'll make it a little bit easier. So, yeah, I pretty much have all my ducks in a row for this. I just got to do the hard, grueling part and then write it.
All right. So, all right, just let me know.
Just watch my Twitter like you did tonight, and I post my shows there. So, okay, that's going to do it for us. I thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you, Phoenix. Thank you, Nerd Stain. That's an interesting name. Cthulhu. Sayamani, something like that. Political Monkey. Who else was here? Modern Medusa was here. Karn was here. And Simaj. And then NC Clark for a quick second. So thank you everyone for coming out. This has been a great presentation. Hopefully I get to do this maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks from now. I do have news that the first week of March, we're going to have Steve Brule on both my channel and Modern Medusa's channel. If you don't know who Steve Brule is, he is the creator of Studio Brule. If you've ever seen the Fingamingo files, he's the one who's responsible for setting all of that up. He's going to be on our shows, so look out for that. So anyways, that's going to do it from me. This is Mad Cat signing out.